Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown!
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown!
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown!
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown!
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown!
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown!
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown!
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown!
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown!
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown!
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first.
What's going on, guys? It's Logan and it's EJ. Welcome back to SwampCast, man. Or our weekly therapy session at this point. We hop on with you guys for 2 hours and all cry together and complain. That's the state that Florida Gator football is at. I was at the game last night when the Florida Gators took on the number 4 ranked Miami Hurricanes. Obviously didn't go the way we wanted. So before we get into all that, EJ, how are we feeling on this Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, whatever you want to call it? Obviously morning over there in beautiful San Diego. But how are we feeling, man?
It's bright and early. It's kind of dreary. I used to have this thing where I wore all black after a loss because, I'm in mourning. But now, since it's like every week, maybe I should just have an all black wardrobe. What do you think, Logan? Because I figure as a Florida Gator fan, we're going to be in mourning pretty much every weekend. And, this is, another episode of How to Lose a Coach in 3 weeks. And I was making a joke that, maybe we should just go to the Sahara Desert. I'm sure there are much more innovative plays that we can randomly find in the sands of the Sahara than in Billy Napier's multi-million-dollar offensive headquarters.
Yep. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. You know what's so funny too, EJ, is like you look at some of these other teams, and we'll get into this. We have a whole section where we dive into Billy Napier and his tenure here and other coaches. But like you look at other coaches, right? Mario Cristobal was literally hired the same week that Billy Napier was hired.
Yep.
And look where he's at and look where Billy is. Look at Jeff Lebby right now, Mississippi State. Mississippi State's 4-0. 4-0. And the Gators, Billy Napier hasn't even started 2-0 in his entire tenure, actually. Fun fact. So, and I know that the schedule's never been super favorable for Billy Napier. I understand that. Billy Napier also, EJ texted me this last night, and it's true. He has a lot of bad luck right? He's obviously screwing himself over and screwing the team over and doesn't have an offense. There's a lot of issues with that, but he also just has really bad luck. And so it's really interesting to watch. It's almost like the universe is like, get rid of this guy. But yeah, man, I agree, EJ. Seeing the formations and the play calling in person, seeing the play by DJ Lagway in person, was even worse than watching on TV. But at least it wasn't a total blowout. When we got the Jaden Ball, and Jaden Ball had that grown man run in the end zone, and Kamani McLean goes and has like a storybook interception on Carson Beck there late in the third. I was jumping up and down, and it just revived the life, not only in me, but in the other 10,000, 20,000 Gator fans. However, there was a good amount of Gator fans in that Miami stadium.
Yeah.
No, seriously, it was like a whole quarter of the stadium was all Gators, and I wasn't even in that section, and there was a bunch by me. So the Gators did a really good job of getting in there and taking over Miami Gardens. So yeah, that was pretty exciting. But anyway, EJ, let's dive into this game real quick. Stop beating around the bush, man. Miami beats the Florida Gators 26-7. Really, 7-13, 7-19, whatever you want to call it. The Gators did get bailed out in this game. I don't know how it looked on TV, EJ, but the one running play that they blew dead of Mark Fletcher when he came out of the pile and ran all the way to the end zone, they called that touchdown back. That was 100% a touchdown.
Oh yeah. We saw it. We saw it. It was 100% a touchdown.
The referees were horrendous in this game. There was a bunch of missed holdings, a bunch of false starts. I thought even by Miami they didn't call. The Gators got away with a few as well. So it was a wild game. But man, we definitely got bailed out there, and that didn't even really help us. So let's dive into some of the team stats, EJ. I'm just gonna do a whole just rapid fire here, and you give me your thoughts. So, third down efficiency. This is the wildest stat I might have ever seen in my entire life. The Florida Gators were 0 for 13 on third downs in this entire game. 0 for 13. They had 7 first downs in total, which is unbelievable. They were 3 for 6 on fourth down. They had 1 first down going into halftime, and that was on a fourth down conversion. They had 141 total yards of offense, 61 passing, 80 rushing. The 80 rush, I don't know how much of those 80 yards, probably at least half of them came from that one drive there that we scored the 7 points on. So there was nothing going on before that. We didn't even have 100 yards before that drive. The great stat, I guess you could take away, is we only had 3 flags in the entire game. But like I said, the referees were pretty trash, and they were kind of letting the players really play. And we had a possession time of 23 minutes in the whole game. 0 turnovers from the Gators, which was one of my key stats going into this week for the offense, was win the turnover battle. Don't throw interceptions, DJ. Let's relax. He didn't do that. I think he took it a little bit too seriously because he wouldn't throw the ball past the line of scrimmage. But 0 interceptions to Carson Beck's and Miami's 1 turnover, which was an interception as well. I'm going to read through the Miami stats next. First downs for Miami, 21. They were 8 of 16 on third down. Listen, the defense played phenomenal in this game, but a big issue was third downs, especially early on. I swear they were like 5 for 5 on third downs at one point. Miami was.
Yeah, they had as many third down conversions as we had yards at that point.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. I just remember sitting there, and it was always like there was a 3rd and 9, a 3rd and 7, and they would still convert. Fourth down, Miami was 1 of 1. They had 349 total yards, 160 yards passing, 189 rushing, 6 penalties for 30 yards, 1 turnover, and a possession time of 36 minutes. EJ, I'll stop talking. What are your thoughts on all those stats? How did you feel about this?
Guys, here's the deal. If you watch the game, if you were at the game, you probably would say the score doesn't reflect the game, right? And I'd agree with that. But the statistics do reflect the score of the game at the end of the day. Um, Yet again, Florida, uh, what was the change from the LSU to this game, which these are two top four teams, which I do think we should have a little bit of, if there's any glimmer of positivity, if you're a Florida fan, is you did just go on the road back to back against number 3 and number 4. I tried to look it up. Maybe I should have used ChatGPT. Maybe if you can find this, but when's the last time a football team went on the road and had to play back-to-back top 5 teams? Like it any way you slice it, it was a very difficult ask. The thing that I think is the most frustrating is player for player, pound for pound, we're as good and better in some positions than LSU and Miami. But what is significantly, obviously, the difference is both of those teams have significantly better quarterback play at this point in the season. I'll say this until I'm blue in the face. A really good coach taught me this, and I was like, "How do you pick a team if two teams are going to win? How do you pick a winner?" He says, "Who's got the better quarterback? Who's got the better defense? If a team has both, pick that team to win 100% of the time." And we've got a really good defense, but the quarterback is historically bad. And the difference between this past year or this past week, LSU versus this game, is Florida just decided we're just going to be completely risk averse. We're not even going to try to throw the ball down the field. We're not even going to attempt to throw the ball deep.
Miami was asking for it.
Miami was just like 8-man box. They had their defensive coordinator. I don't know. I've got to look up his name, but he had a really good game plan. And it's the game plan that every defense is going to impose on Florida, which is 2 deep safeties to spook DJ Lagway's only statistical thing that he does well from a probability standpoint, and that's throw it deep. We're going to stick with 2 deep safeties, 20 yards from the line of scrimmage. DJ Lagway can't throw over the middle. He can't complete accurate 2-yard outs. Slants are pretty much the only thing he can throw, but he's spooked into scaring those when you have defensive ends that show blitz and then they back up. He gets spooked and now he starts running around and he's kind of slow now. So when you have a quarterback that is limited in terms of the playbook, it almost looks like Aiden Warner is out there playing. If you really look at it, I mean, there's no difference between what DJ Lagway is doing and what Aiden Warner did when he was at Texas. They completely eliminated half the playbook, and he's very easy to defend, no threat to throw the ball deep. In fact, Hayden Warner, I think he had a 40-yard pass against Texas. That was just like more yards in that one play than we had the entire first half. So I think, just long story short, there's just no path forward with DJ Lagway as the quarterback right now. I know that people are going, "Oh, he's still a good player." He's not, guys. I mean, we can say LSU and Miami are top 5 teams and they're great defenses, which they are. It still doesn't excuse the USF game, which every player on our team is materially better than what they presented on defense. Well, except for a few players. Not to be, but and they completely stymied us to also score 1 touchdown. So if you have a quarterback where you're scoring 1 touchdown a game, it's really bad. So that's my opening spiel.
Yeah. Let's dive into this offense. We'll talk about the defense in a bit, but the defense offered a lot of great things. And being there in person also got very lucky at times. So we'll also get into that. But yeah, no, DJ Lagway. I was walking out of the stadium, EJ, and I was talking to these two Miami fans. We were walking out, and he was like, "Man, I'm glad I hit the 7.5 over or whatever for Miami and took the spread." And then his buddy was like, "Yeah, I should also bet on DJ Lagway not having 60 yards passing." And I was like, I turned around, I was like, "Yeah, welcome to my life, brother." And we were chatting it up, and yeah, I was sitting there, and he was talking about Billy Napier, and I obviously went off about Billy, but then I was like, also though too, and he was like, "Yeah, DJ's just not good." I was like, I agree, but I've never seen a QB take a step back like this under the same exact system with better players around him in a year or two. And it's like, I understand that he was injured, and this was his 5th week of practice the entire offseason. I understand that, but you can't tell me that he was in that film room, that he wasn't in the film room watching film, that he wasn't in the film room, dealing with the mental aspect of everything. And I know the game is entirely different once you actually get on the field and stuff's moving around. I understand that, but there's still ways to work around an injury. And it's just like everything's off, EJ. His willingness to go down the field, his willingness to used to read high to low, and now what he does is he has his pre-snap read, and if that pre-snaps read's not there, well, last week he would just throw it to him anyway, but this week he goes to his check down right away and just throws the check down instead of actually going through.
And completely inaccurate on the check down pass.
Horrible. There was times where it went straight to the guy's feet. It was terrible, EJ. If you're, like you said, if you're going to throw a check down, get the ball in front of him. That's the easiest pass you can make. And so that's literally what he is. It's pre-snap read, not there. Okay. Sometimes he still throws it, but then he'll throw it to the check down and accurately. And last season, he would read high to low. He would look at the safety. He would look the safety off so we could hit these deep down the field shots. And we're just not seeing that this year. Also, too, his fundamentals are horrendous. I don't know what's going on with that.
Awful.
I don't think I saw a single pass this game, EJ, where he wasn't. Let me show you what he was doing. Okay, watch. This is DJ Lagway. Right? He drops back and then he does this. He jumps to throw, facing the receiver. Like I don't. You just step into the throw, but he looks at him exactly how I'm looking at you right now to throw the ball. My camera is focusing on Albert the Gator again. We love that.
We love him.
Anyway, I'm gonna be blurry for a while, but it's just it's unreal. Like that, and I was talking with him, and I was like, that's coaching. That's a coaching issue. That's not the player. That is the coaching, telling him what to do. And we got to remember too, this is not the system that DJ Lagway is used to. When he was at Willis, Texas, in high school, he would do 5 wide. That's what he's used to. He's used to the 5 wide receivers. He's used to dropping back and having everything spread out. And when you bunch formations are very effective, right? We understand that, but not when you have a quarterback that's struggling. Not when you have a quarterback that is not reading the field right. You're condensing the field. You're making it tougher. Also, you're putting 9-10 guys in the box when you do that. So if you're trying to run the football, why are you doing a bunch formation? Like it doesn't make any sense at all. And I would love to sit down with Billy Napier and just try to understand his mindset when it comes to this. But yeah, going back to DJ Lagway, I think it's less on DJ taking a step back and more on the coaching. Because I don't think there's any other way to explain it. EJ, like he's still very talented. We see moments like that crossing route he threw to Eugene Wilson in the game. I think it was Eugene Wilson, if I'm not mistaken. Might have been Vernell, but I think it was Eugene Wilson. That Eugene Wilson dropped, and it was right over his shoulder, and he jumped out for the ball. Beautiful ball, super tight window, which once again goes back to how there's a really low margin for error in this offense, and how you have to fit the ball into tight windows in Billy Napier's route tree. But there's moments like that where you're like, okay, DJ Lagway can be accurate, but it's when he sets his feet, when he's comfortable. But sadly, those fundamentals just seem to go straight out the window every single time. And from play to play, and I like I said, I can't think of two passing plays in a row yesterday, which we never did 2 passing plays in a row because Billy Napier wanted to run it 17 times, one after another. But I can't think of 2 times in the same drive where his footwork was like high school level. Like it's crazy. It's simple stuff, EJ. And I've never seen a player take a step back like this. Do you have any thoughts on DJ Lagway? I'm trying to figure out my camera.
Oh, yeah. I mean, here's the deal. It's kind of like, is there a conspiracy? And last night I think if you do that, it refocuses.
Oh, damn. It's fine. I'll figure it out. You're good.
But last night in San Diego, we were just thinking like, and one of our friends, John, was there, who he actually lives in Orlando, but he comes to a conference every year, so he catches the game with us. And we were just talking, is there a conspiracy theory, like, to keep DJ Lagway in the game? What is going on? And really, if you think about it from DJ Lagway's perspective, he better enjoy the NIL money, because he is losing millions right now in draft prospects.
Mm-hmm.
The fundamentals are terrible. The accuracy on pretty much any pass is horrendous. He has no confidence whatsoever. And to your point, it's all 100% coaching. Billy Napier is the offensive coordinator, the play caller, the quarterback's coach. What is the worst thing? It does nothing with the defense. And the defense is like championship level, and the offense is literally the worst. We probably have the worst offense in FBS. I actually have not seen an offense that's worse. And what's even more malpractice is the talent that we have on our team. We have probably one of the better running back tandems in the nation that are completely underutilized and underdeveloped. Hayden Hansen. Why is Hayden Hansen in the game? I mean, I'm sure he's a great guy. I'm sure he's a phenomenal player or human being. But he has zero playmaking ability and can't catch. And then I forgot when this play was, but it was a crucial third down. I think we were down 13-7. And were we down 13-7? I think it was one of the possessions. We were still in the game.
Yep.
And it was 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 1. And I'm like, okay, we can run this, but you can't run it up the middle. That is the play call. And what does Miami do? Miami's very smart defensive coordinator says blitz middle. And so he brought a safety and a linebacker, and they shot blitz the A and the B gaps. Where do we run the ball? Directly into the blitz. So it's kind of like, okay, you get kind of numb to it when you watch the NFL, because the NFL, you're professionals. You see what the defense is going to do. You do something different. But it's like with Billy Napier, it is sheer incompetence of how to run a football, how to run an offense. I've seen 12-year-olds online on NCAA with slightly better football acumen when it comes to what plays work than Billy Napier. The other thing we talked about is we have a complete lack of identity offensively. Billy Napier has always lacked an identity when it comes to offense, which is what leads to what the hell do we do? Are we a throwing team? Last week we threw the ball 49 times. So are we a throwing team? This week we run the ball a little bit more. Are we a running team? What the hell do we do offensively that creates an identity for your offense? You think about any other team, pro style, power, spread, quick pass. They all have an identity. We don't. And the last thing I'll say, they say that the team members took DJ Lagway to dinner, and that was supposedly going to solve all the problems. I just want to know, Gator fans, if anyone was in Gainesville, where did they take him? Where did they take him to dinner? Because it surely wasn't Waffle House. Because if it was Waffle House, they'd have some fight in them. Okay? They'd have a little bit more fight than what they showed. And that leads me to my last point on this whole thing. One of the reasons you want to pick against Florida in these games is the team doesn't know how to win. Like when it comes to playing these games, you have to have a mentality and a strategy of how are we going to win this game? Like you have to actually plan it out. Like, okay, we're down 13-7. We just got an interception. How do we win the game? The coach is completely incompetent. He has absolutely no clue how to manage time. Um, when Miami had the ball late, I was like, I think it was like 6 minutes to go. I was like, well, Billy Napier's just going to let him run the clock out. I was like, is he going to let him run the clock out? And just sheer incompetence. We should have kicked the field goal when it was 4th and 3. And I think it would have been a 49-yard field goal attempt for Trey Smack to make it 13-10. At 13-10, and you kick off back to Miami, you have an opportunity for your defense to go out there and play with a little fire, right? Miami is going to try to run the ball. You know what they're going to do. You have an opportunity to get out there and get after it. And the defense was playing well. But if you go for it and don't get it, you're still down 6, and Miami is just going to rub-a-dub chub down the field. Your defense is kind of like, okay, whatever. The defense still got the ball back again and we just completely melted down. So I think DJ Lagway, it is time to go to the backup at this point. I honestly feel like if we would have had the backup against USF, we would have won that game. But it's I don't even know what to describe it. I will tell you this though. There's a Hall of Shame. And I put DJ Lagway's performance these past 2 weeks into the Hall of Shame. So let me just give you all real quick what these games were. Okay, Emory Jones. He played a game against FAU where he had 17-27, 1 touchdown, 2 picks versus FAU. Anthony Richardson, who was the athletic freak, also came into that game. He was only 3 for 8 for 40 yards. Now, he had a 50-yard touchdown run, so we all thought he was great. Jeff Driscoll, the next Tim Tebow, right? He was supposed to be this great guy. 7-19, 50 yards, 2 pick sixes versus Missouri. That was the Will Muschamp game. Do y'all remember that? I don't think anyone remembers that. John Brantley, 6 out of 12, 52 yards against FSU. DJ Lagway last week against LSU, 5 picks. This game, 62 yards passing. How is that even? And then I also want to touch on this real quick, and then I want to get your thoughts on this. The offensive line being trash. Okay, here's the deal. I thought about this. It's easy to say the offensive line is trash. But the bottom line is, when you think about this, you just played on the road in a loud, and you're not really supposed to hear the plays or anything like that. LSU and Miami have literally the 2 best defensive lines you're going to play this year. And you're blocking for a quarterback that is completely freaking inept. He can't step up into the pocket. He has no idea where the blitz is coming from. He can't read the field. He can't complete a 2-yard out. He throws wide open receivers 20 yards over their heads. So it's kind of like, if I'm an offensive lineman, why the hell would I want to block for this guy? Why the hell would I want to block in this scheme when, oh, by the way, I'm being pummeled because 5-star defensive ends are charging in on a quarterback that can't read the field? What the hell am I supposed to do? Be a freaking Terminator and like completely destroy at 5-star defensive ends? So it's like you have to understand the relativity to the competition as the offensive line. And if your quarterback is not giving you any help in a battle, it doesn't matter. And it's kind of like you can have any offensive line in the country, Alabama, Ohio State. If they're blocking for a quarterback that just doesn't understand, hey, I know you guys are playing against a really good defensive line. Let me help you out in this game. Yeah, you're gonna look like trash. And so they're incapable of playing these top defenses and just completely giving you 10 seconds to throw the ball. You need to freaking know where the hell you're going to throw it and be accurate when you throw it. And then the defense will be like, oh, okay, he can actually throw the ball. Let's not blitz 5 or 6 guys every play. You know what I mean? So that was my reflection last night when people were, the offensive line, where's the offensive line? I'm like, well, we don't even run the ball. And there was the one drive in the second half where we ran it, and Jaden Ball had the grown man touchdown. And then it's like, we completely forget how to do that again. So, ran over. What do you think about that? Oh, I think you're on mute.
I'm back. I agree. That's my biggest issue with DJ Lagway too, is he cannot make checks at all. And so, like you said, a big part of the offensive line is that dynamic with the quarterback, is the communication, is the quarterback identifying the mic. You know what I mean? Like, you have to help these guys out. And even though we have some talented O-linemen, they can't do everything themselves. So I agree. I think that a little bit of that does fall on DJ Lagway. Now, the offensive line did struggle a lot in this game, though, at times. There was, obviously you got Ruben Bain and all these other guys that are, like you said, some of the best defensive players in the country, let alone, on our schedule. So I get, once again, that these guys have had 2 really tough tests in a row. But there was multiple times where we were double teaming guys and they were still getting through. And I don't know if that's a communication issue. I don't know what's going on, EJ. But that was a real problem. But there was a few times in this game, because I think DJ got sacked a few times. I remember one in particular. The guy was showing a blitz. He was on the far right. Our right tackle is the weakest spot on our O-line. Bro was itching over there. It was a linebacker, I think, with Ruben Bain. So if you're DJ Lagway, number one, you always need to be identifying Ruben Bain and see where the hell he is every single play. Right? He's going to usually be on that right side. And also, too, if you have a guy that's acting like he's going to blitz, just for safety, check that and switch your protection. And he didn't do that. And so he gets the ball, he turns, guy comes around the corner unblocked and lays him out. And so, like, I don't know, man. It's just, I literally remember him snapping the ball, stepping back, because the way I like to watch the field, I kind of go back and forth when I'm in person, but I love to look at the route tree, what we're doing down the field. I usually don't look in the pocket too much. I looked in the back, the route tree in the backfield, or the secondary for probably a second, not even, and the crowd just erupts, and I look down, DJ's on the ground. I'm like, what the hell happened? Like, what are we doing? So yeah, I think that there's a domino effect here, EJ. I think no one's helping anyone. I think that it's a total mess. I think that the only group that has been consistent from the start has been the running backs. And on this offense, at least, is the running back group. And I think that, and that's without Jaluke either at this game, right? Because he had the suspension.
Right.
And these guys played unbelievable. One thing that's super interesting, EJ, being there at the game, and maybe I'm wrong, I didn't see much of a difference between that one drive that we went all the way down running the football and the one after that, defensively, how they played us. I don't know how we had so much success on that one, and then we just couldn't get the ball going at all on that next drive, because they were stacking the box the entire time. I think it was just a momentum thing, is what my guess is. Because I didn't see too much of a different scheme being applied.
I think it was their defense finally getting a little bit gassed because it was second half, late in the second half. Maybe they were like, oh, they can't move the ball. And I think we committed to the run. And we got lucky. We made a few conversions,
No, that's true. That's true. I mean, that's really the only point where there was any kind of hope for this offense was that drive. One thing that really pissed me off, we brought it up, there was a 4th down and 3. Listen, I'm just a guy from Orlando, Florida, okay? I stopped playing football before high school. Even I know, if I'm scheming up a 4th down conversion, I'm going to make sure all my receivers that are going out, running back, whoever it is, that's going to catch the ball, they need to at least get to the sticks. They do not need to be running routes underneath the sticks. We throw it a yard and a half behind the sticks, and then we get stopped. What was that? What I think it was Hayden Hansen. Why are we? It literally does not make any sense, EJ.
I think it was number 4, Abrams.
Was it Abrams?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, well, it does make sense if you think about Billy Napier, right?
Right. Yeah.
I was sitting there. I was like, throw the ball across the first down marker. At least if they catch it, it's a first down. Because these idiots, if it's Hayden Hansen, he can't break a tackle. Mm-mm. If it's what's the guy's? Well, Jaden Ball's the only one, and Jacoby Jackson's the only one that can shimmy and break. And it's crazy because they're huge. But what's a majigger? Eugene Wilson is used terribly, but he gets touched, he gets brought down instantly. Mm-hmm. Abrams can't break a tackle to save his life. Hayden Hansen can't catch. Livingston acts like he has no clue where the ball is. So what is this? And then it's kind of like, okay, roll the pocket, give your quarterback a run throw option.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. And you know what's crazy is I don't want to hear excuses from the fans saying that they don't want to run into Ruben Bain, because guess what? The 4th down conversion we did have, when we rolled DJ out to the right and it was the running play, we got the first down. And he had plenty of room over there. And there was a big gap. There's a big hole for him to run into. I was just about to say that earlier, EJ. Why the hell did we not try to roll DJ out? I don't understand it. I don't get it. And then it's funny. Every single time we spread our guys out and did a 5 wide, even though we put Hayden Hansen all the way out on the outside, which once again, I get if you have a Kyle Pitts, that's one thing.
Right.
And I know that you want to find a mismatch, but why the hell do you have a tight end on the far outside that is a blocking tight end? Hayden Hansen's not a receiving tight end. I'm not trying to sit here and shit on the guy. He's a cool dude. I've chatted with him. He's cool, and he's a good blocking tight end. He's a good tight end. He is not a good receiving tight end. He's slow. He does not break tackles like you were saying, EJ. They get him on, and it's like whenever he does catch the ball, he's usually one-on-one with the tackler, and I don't think he's made a defender miss once. And so what is the mismatch that Billy Napier's trying to find here? Doesn't make any sense. Run out TJ Abrams. Run out Mizell.
I think it goes back to like some rumors, which was like favoritism. Like, is Billy being favoritism towards DJ Lagway? And maybe there's favoritism towards Hayden Hansen. Hayden, like I said, he's probably a great guy, but dude, you're not Brock Bowers. Okay, maybe you are, and DJ Lagway just can't throw the ball, but who knows? It's terrible.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. So there's a lot of issues, man. I mean, and this is stuff that we've seen through this entire tenure, man. It's not the first time that we've seen receivers running routes in front of the sticks. Like it's very, very disappointing, and that's my big issue with Billy Napier in that specific point, because that's a big moment. This is the drive. You know what I mean? So that was very frustrating.
What about the field goal? Should we have kicked the field goal, do you think?
With how our offense was playing, so here's my issue with that, EJ. If you get a touchdown, you're up. If you get a field goal, it's a 3-point game. But obviously, your defense has been. If you go for the field goal, it's a 3-point game. Your defense has been, really doing a good job. I turned to my dad around that point at the game, EJ, because we were discussing that. My dad was leaning toward the field goal. I was leaning toward going for it. I think that your defense is, I looked at my dad. I was like, they're gonna break eventually. They've been playing such a good game. Miami's gonna run down the field. So one thing that's been very consistent in this game, you talked about it, EJ. The stats show the score. It might not feel like it when you watch it, but the stats show. That's because we were a bend not break defense. Miami got into Gator territory like 5 times in this game and came up with 0 points. It was actually insane. Like I don't think there was a single 3 and out. Oh no, sorry. I think there was 1 3 and out there toward the end of the game. But when the momentum kind of was on our side, but they were consistently going down the field, getting to like the 40, maybe like 45, and then taking a few, delay game penalties so the punter had more room. That happened like literally 4 times in this game.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you go for it, you don't get it. Miami gets a field goal. It's a 2-score game. You know what I mean? If you do go for the field goal, you get it. You have Trey Smack. He's been consistent other than the LIU game. He's bouncing back, but trust in the guy. He was out there early on in the game, kicking some bombs, by the way. And Miami gets a field goal. It's still a 1-score game. So it's a tough one, EJ. But the reason that I was leaning toward going for it was because that was one of the I think it was like maybe the second time in the game where we were at that side of the field, and I was just like, I don't know if the Gator offense can, keep that up. I don't trust Billy Napier to keep that up. And at that point, we were doing really good on 4th down conversions, and so that's why I was like, screw it, go for it. So that was kind of my reasoning. But I mean, looking back on it, hindsight 2020, right? It's always 2020. Definitely probably should have gone for the field goal, but I didn't mind Billy Napier going for it. I thought, we had some consistency when we were moving the ball a little bit, but at the same time, DJ, our offense was going, and then they had these little spurts. So I understand both sides of it. I was just leaning toward, I wanted to win so bad, and I knew our defense was eventually going to break. But obviously, we went for it, didn't get it. We got to stop. We got the ball back. And we had a chance still. So,
well, yeah. Here's why I was like, and I hear you. And it was kind of 50-50 in the SD Gator Bar, Bay City Brewery, by the way, if anyone's in San Diego. Half of us were like, go for it now, Billy. You're a freaking loser. And then the other half were like, no, kick the field goal. And I was in the kick the field goal camp because coaches have, or you should have like a matrix that shows you all the possible outcomes and which one gives you the best chance. So it's kind of like, and then you have guiding principles. So if you go for it and get it, that's the ideal outcome. If you go for it and miss it, it's high risk, high reward in that situation. Because if you go for it and you miss it, it's demoralizing. Your defense gets out there and it's like it's deflating. If you kick the field goal, you have probably a 70% chance to make it. Given how, 50-yard field goals nowadays are like the old 30-yard. I remember in the 90s when I was first watching football, a 50-yard field goal was like, oh my God, it's a record. It's a record. Now it's like 50 yards is like an extra points nowadays. So I'm like, okay, you have a 70% chance to make it. You go 13-10. You maintain the momentum for your team. Your defense is going to get out there on the next possession, and they're going to be like, we got to stop them. And you go out there, you smash them, get the ball back, and hopefully you can drive the ball back down there again. And then even if they drive it down, as long as you don't give up a touchdown, you're still in the game. So to me, That was the better decision to have made. The other reason is the play calling itself. It's different if it's Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss going for it on 4th and 3 versus Billy Napier with a hapless DJ Lagway who can't throw a 3-yard pass. Hayden Hansen can't catch. No one knows how to run past 4 yards. You can't run it because they're going to stop you. How the hell are you going to get the 3 yards? You're 0 of 13 on 3rd down. This has not happened in FBS since 2022. How many games? 12 times 130 is what? 1,000 games? And you were the one. So when you're 0 of 13 on 3rd downs, everybody, just think about this. It's not bad luck at that point. It's just freaking, you're dumb as hell. You're dumb and incapable. I don't care if it's the freaking Baltimore Ravens, Ray Lewis out back there's defense. You can literally, on 13 plays of an average of 4.5 yards, you can literally snap the ball to the quarterback, close your eyes, throw the ball over your head. Somebody on your offense is going to catch one of those passes out of 13. To be 0 of 13 is like deliberately, maliciously intent to be incompetent at this level of play. It has never, you're never going to see for the rest of the season, mark this down, in the SEC, you are never going to see an SEC team go 0 of 13 on 3rd down. Mark it down. Because it hasn't happened in 3 years in the entire nation. So the fact that they did that and we're still somehow 6 points with 7 minutes to go in the 4th quarter is a freaking miracle. The other thing is, 141 yards of offense. That's why I was like, gaining a freaking yard. It's 4th and 1. You got to kick the freaking field goal because you can't even get, you gained 140 yards the whole game? I've never seen that. This is like historically, actually, it's not as bad as that. I think SEC championship game, we got 119 yards versus Alabama back in 1999. Many people weren't even born then. Okay. So Sean Alexander ran all over us. So 141 yards, you got to freaking kick the field goal. This is, guys, this is, oh, and here's the other thing. Why didn't we run it? I don't even know if this is statistically correct, but I went on the run chart. We have not had an explosive run the entire season of 20 yards or more through 4 games. How the hell do you not have a 40-yard or 20-yard run through 4 games? And Billy Napier does this musical chairs with the running backs where it's like, okay, the hottest running back that just ran you down the field, we're going to take him out and put in the other guy. And then if he does good, then we take him out and put in the guy that's cold. I mean, it's just the stupidest shit I've ever seen. DJ Lagway also 8 carries, -8 yards. How are you a mobile quarterback and have negative yards rushing? That should never happen in a million years. Jaden Baugh did have 12 carries, 46 yards, which is really good against a Miami defense. What is that? 3 yards a carry? 3.5 yards a carry? Give him the damn ball. If it was me, I would have just been like, we're handing it off to Jaden Baugh. We're doing freaking wild gator. Force Miami to come up. Do something innovative. Billy Napier is the least innovative offensive coach in the history of Florida football. We managed just 2.6 yards of play. Miami had 7.5 yards of play. So if you're looking at statistically to say, oh, the game wasn't as bad as 26-7, statistically it was, guys. They had 3 times more yards per play than we did, which is like insane. The strategy was obviously to not be risky, to not turn it over, because turnovers would have made this a lot worse. But um, just overall horrible, 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 horrible. And yeah, so you know,
I don't think DJ Lagway threw one throw that was over 10, 15 yards. Like, honestly.
well, he did. But it was 20 yards over the head
Oh, yeah.
of the wide open
Yep.
receiver.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But that's very true. But like I mean, dude, it was insane. He averaged 2.7 yards a completion. I mean, that's like unbelievable. Unbelievable.
That's historic, completely ineffective.
I wonder
Ineffective.
when's the last time a Gator quarterback averaged 2.7 yards a pass? Like that's either, I mean, I think it's a little bit of both, but that's either lack of faith in your quarterback or your quarterback just being trash. Like, honestly. And I think it's, I mean, I don't know. I think it goes back to coaching, like I was saying. I know DJ Lagway, it's not like he's incapable of taking these deep shots. You know what I mean? We've seen it before. I think it's coaching. I think it's a mental thing, and I think it falls on Billy Napier, which is a big reason why he needs to go. EJ, we've been talking about this offense for like 40 minutes now. Do you want to go over to this defense?
Yeah, let's talk about the defense. I mean, poor guys. Cormani McClain, heroic play. If you had any help whatsoever, maybe it wouldn't have been in vain. Jordan Castell, 9 tackles. Jaden Woods, number 15, who had to play because obviously we were, and that goes back to, guys, listen, not only is Billy Napier completely inept and the worst offensive coach potentially in the history of SEC football, and by worst, I mean, not only do you have great players, how do you waste their talent by not having an offense that suits their strengths? Anyway, he's unlucky because half the team's injured. So Caleb Banks is probably not going to come back for the rest of the season. He had a surgical procedure done, lower, on the lower leg. He was hurt all off season. Probably not going to come back. That's a huge blow. Can imagine having a healthy Caleb Banks in this game. That could have made a completely big difference. Mm-hmm. Burrow is out. George Gums, your highest rated defensive end, didn't play. He's hurt. So you had to put in the true freshman Woods. This kid is incredible. He was amazing out there, number 15. Beating, he's a true freshman, so it's kind of like he's out there just with a heavy motor. The technique and the stylistic, how to get underneath blocks and come around, still needs some work, obviously. But just a overall athletic freak. Got out there, got a sack on Carson Beck in this game on a crucial third down. Incredible. But the defense, when your offense starts the game with, I think we had 3 straight 3-and-outs. There was a point where we had 5 yards and they had 5 third-down conversions. I've never seen that's the most pathetic offense I've ever seen. So when your defense is out there, when you don't have depth, and your defense is out there because your offense can't gain a freaking yard. Eventually, the defense is going to wear down, and Miami is going to be able to run the ball. And you saw that late in the fourth quarter, where Mario Cristobal was like, "Hey, you just threw that interception, Carson Beck. We're not letting you throw this ball again. We are lining up and we are power driving down the field to end this game." And that's exactly what they did. And our defense was a little bit worn down and we couldn't get into the gaps. We couldn't stop the run. And Miami tacked on those last 2 touchdowns to make the score more indicative of what the stats were. But again, Rob Roberts, great defensive game plan. Yeah, we gave up a lot of third down conversions early, but at the end of the day, if Rob Roberts had an offense that complemented his defense, that was at least 50th percentile in the country in terms of being able to get 1 out of 5 third downs, which the national average is 31%. 1 out of 5 is 20%. Can we get 2 third down conversions to help your defense out? Can you get, and it's not like we're talking about these were 3rd and 25s. It was like 3rd and 3 half the time. 3rd and 4.5 was the average. You are that inept that you can't get 1 third down conversion. What do they do in practice? Because, and I know we're supposed to be talking about the defense, but the defense is helped out by the offense. If anyone understands football, your defense can't just go out there unless you have like Georgia, which it has like 3 deep, 4-star defensive players. We have 1 deep. So you can't just get out there and just completely, and people are going, the defense didn't play. I saw some people online, the defense didn't play well this game. People don't understand football. People don't understand. You're playing the top 4 team in the nation. You got to have you win those games. All facets of the game have to be stepping it up. The punter, he was punting the ball 20 yards down the field, out of bounds 20 yards. The offense can't gain a yard. It's like Little Giants. I don't know if anybody watched that game. We gained a yard. And then the defense, what are they supposed to do? And we were thinking of saying, Carmani, you intercepted that ball. Congratulations. We love you. You 180-degree turnaround. But stay on your freaking feet and run it back for a touchdown, because that's the only way we're going to freaking score. At least run it back at the field goal range. Because as you saw, guess what happened when we got the ball? Right back. And you gave us beautiful field position. Billy Napier was still calling the plays. The only way we're going to do anything is if you run that back next time. So hopefully he'll do that against Texas. But that's my rant for the defense.
You live and you learn. Jaden Woods was great. He made a few mistakes, one crucial down. He didn't hold the edge, and that let them bounce out for like a good 15, 16-yard run. But other than that, Jaden Woods did a really good job. He also got held like hell on a play.
They were holding. They were like
yeah. Horrible.
No call.
Also, Kofi Asar, man, the transfer from UMass, played also a really good game. Obviously stepping in for George Gums, you know what I mean? And like you said, we had a lot of guys out. We had Burrow, we had Gums and Caleb Banks, all out. And so these guys did do a really good job stepping up. And you did make a great point. The defense, did they play the perfect game? No. Did they make them a lot of mistakes? Yes. Were they getting manhandled at times in the run game? Yes. There was times, EJ, where they were literally pushing the pile 10 yards. And it was crazy to see in person because there was there's Gator get up to his legs. They're all they're doing is pushing the pile, grab his legs and wrap up. And there was a few times where they did do that, the Gator players at a few different downs, but mostly they weren't going for that. So that's just good film for Ron Roberts to point out to his guys to wrap these guys' legs up because Mark Fletcher's a good running back and he will keep chopping those feet. And like I said, we got lucky, obviously, on that big run that got called back. It's crazy that he just popped out of the pile. You know what I mean? We didn't even know where he was. All our guys are doing is just pushing on the pile. So we need to find the guy and wrap up his legs, get to the ball. But other than that, I'm very happy with how this defense played. They played a bend not break kind of game, EJ. They like I said, Miami, I don't know the exact stat, but it had to at least be 4 to 5 times where they got into Gator territory at like the 40-yard line, 45-yard line, and we just played stonewall defense. The secondary did a really good job with these receivers. I thought we contained that true freshman Tony that they have. Hold on, let me get back to that real quick. Sorry. I think Malachi Tony, right? Yeah, Malachi Tony, 4 catches for 40 yards. That's really good. Honestly, we contained him well. They also have C.J. Daniels, who's one of the best wide receivers in the country, I think. I think we did a really good job holding him to 4 receptions for 16 yards and only a long of 9. So our secondary, even though they've been banged up and we lost a few guys in this game, whether it's Dijon Johnson or whether it's Aaron Gates, they did a really good job stepping up. Like I said, Jordan Castell probably had his best game in a Gator uniform. He was flying all the way down the field. Very disciplined game by him. There was a couple of times where Carson Beck did the handoff, and he was like 2 times where he rolled out to the outside, and he didn't go for the ball. He stayed with Carson Beck in case Carson Beck kept it, because the offensive coordinator is looking at that. You know what I mean? If that OC is watching and goes, oh, no one's staying with Beck, bet, let's do the same play. Carson, keep it. Let's roll to the outside. We see that all the time in college football, and Jordan Castell, that's his man. He did a really good job sticking to that. So big shout out to Jordan Castell. Thought he had a great game. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the mistakes were just typical, defensive mistakes that you're going to see, right? Missed tackles, not wrapping up. So we need to see a little bit more of that for sure. I thought we got good. It's funny. One of my big keys going into this game was get pressure on Carson Beck. Like you said, Jaden Woods did get a sack, and there was multiple times in this game where Carson Beck was not able to really set his feet. It was either Carson Beck had 6 seconds to throw the ball, or he had really not a lot of time at all. So hopefully we find a little bit more consistency there. But like you were talking about, EJ, we don't have 3 of our starters on the defensive line out of 4. So when that happens, he's going to have time in the pocket. You're going to have these other guys step up. There was guys playing in this game that I didn't even know. Also, I think, didn't Bet go out of the game too with an injury? I think Bet also went out.
Yeah, there was one point I texted you. I was like, we're desperate. Put the spitter in.
Yeah.
And then, like, as soon as I texted you that, he's like hurt. I was like,
yeah.
Man, I think I jinxed him.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's 4 starters now on our D line that are out. And so that's something I was worried about, EJ, coming into this year. You know that we were talking about it. I'm like, who's going to step up? And because there's not too much depth there. And now we have 4 guys out. So Caleb Banks might not be back for a while. I think Burrow will probably be back this after the bye week. I'm not too worried about him. And it looks like George Gums shouldn't be too long. And then Bet looked like
he
it
was
wasn't.
He was a game time decision.
Okay.
And Gums, I think, dressed out, but he couldn't go. Hopefully he'll be back for Texas.
Sweet. Okay, so yeah, so that's good. And then Bet should obviously be back. So hopefully we get a little bit more healthy there. I thought Tyreek Sapp also played a good game. I think they were double teaming him at times. I think that they did a really good job knowing where he was. Carson Beck, unlike DJ Lagway, did a really good job checking and changing his pass pro and finding where Tyreek Sapp was. So big props to that Miami offensive line keeping him in check, but he was flying all over the field for sure. So yeah, like I said, Gators overall did a really good job playing the bend not break. They got lucky a few times because it was raining. Also, big shout out to the Miami Stadium for having the overhang. We did not get wet at all. It was amazing. Everyone in the field was soaked, and everyone on the sidelines and in the first 10 rows were, but not us, baby. Nosebleeds
Nice.
for the
Nice.
go. But I think there's also a lot of drops in this game. Pre-game, I was telling you, EJ, they're dropping the ball. They're running those little routes, and they keep dropping the ball, and it actually came to fruition in the game as well, with a couple of key drops by C.J. Daniels and a few others. But Carson Beck also just looked inaccurate at times. He was throwing the ball behind his receivers. He was throwing them a little high. There was literally high over the middle, which is not what you want to do. That's like the worst possible throw you can make in college football, especially in football in general. He made that throw a few times. I thought the Gators did a really good job, though, taking advantage of those situations and of those miscues and giving the offense another shot to have a 3-and-out. So I'm pretty proud of our defense. I thought they did a great job. Bend not break is Ron Roberts' thing. He's not going to be – we're never going to have a top 15 defense, but because, once again, we're bend not break, they will move the ball on us. But they did a really good job. Big turnover in a key moment by Cormani McClain. I thought that was beautiful coverage. Beautiful coverage by him. He was on that receiver. And even though he didn't run it back, really proud of our boys. So, yeah, defensively, holding this Miami team to 13 points, going into the fourth, I believe, was amazing. So, they're the ones that kept this game, a game. And that's why it's going to fall on this offense. So I agree. While there is a lot of issues, a lot of it is fixable on this defense. I think the offense, though, it runs a little bit deeper than just a film room.
Yeah, and real quick, high level guys, if your defense is giving up when the game is still, through 90% of the game, 1 touchdown to the other team's offense, I can promise you the issue is not your defense, right? They shut LSU's offense out in the second half. LSU scored a pick six in the second half of that game, and that was the difference in the scoring for the second half. And Miami had one touchdown all the way up until the 7-minute mark in the fourth quarter. So there you go. The other thing is, I look at some of these snap counts. The other thing, high level defensive strategy. So why are we in this bend but don't break defense? If you all recall, Austin Armstrong, who was our defensive coordinator last year, I think, or
Yep.
maybe the last couple of years, he was a lot more aggressive. He would blitz a lot more. And as a result, we'd have busted coverages, people be wide open, we'd look terrible. Rob Roberts comes over from Auburn with a little bit of a different defensive approach. His defensive approach is, we are going to keep everything in front of us, we're going to surrender some things in our base defense, and the quarterback is just going to have to be good enough to find those things. Now, the reality is we've played Nussmeier and Beck, who are top 10 quarterback NFL draft. So it's not like we're playing deadbeat dads out here at the quarterback position. So they're able to move the ball. But the primary issue with that is when your offense puts no pressure on the other team's offense to open up their playbook, because your offense is now a threat to score. So now we have to open up the playbook, throw the ball more. Your defense becomes less and less effective in what they can do, particularly for a quarterback like Carson Beck, who you saw when we got a little pressure on him and they had a pass play over the middle called. What happened? He underthrew. Cormani McClain is a freak athlete that knows how to step underneath and pick that ball off. Now, imagine if Florida would have taken that interception and done what 80% of other SEC teams would have done and scored right after that. Now, all of a sudden, Miami's in a position where, oh shit, we got to throw the ball. We actually have to score now. Now you can actually call blitzes on your defense to put pressure on Beck, to throw the ball accurately on man-to-man coverage, which he has been prone to not do. But when you have a completely boneheaded, ridiculously ineffective toddler as the offensive coordinator, and we have to start calling it like it is, he's the worst offensive coordinator we've ever had, Billy Napier. When you have a
that's saying something,
bonehead like
because we
that,
had Nussmeier's father, and
we
he
had
was
Nussmeier's
trash.
dad, Num Nussmeier. We also had Brent Least. We also had Shark Daddy, or what's the other one? Shark, Baby Shark.
Baby Shark,
We had
yep.
Baby Shark. I would have any of those guys with this offense than Billy Napier. High school Pop Warner, shift the tight ends who can't run 2 yards down the field. Anyway, if you would have had any other offensive mind, we would have actually scored, forced Carson Beck to have to throw it, which would have increased the risk to their offense of, hey, we can actually blitz. We can actually force him to throw in man-to-man coverage. But when you turn the ball over on downs because you're too dumb to kick the field goal, now Miami's thinking, hey, guess what, guys? We have a touchdown lead. Billy Napier's dumb as rocks, completely wasting a great offensive talent. Let's just run the ball right down the field and punch this thing in. And that's exactly what they did, because there was no threat to throw the ball. Then we got the ball back 19-7. And at that point, I was like, just punt it. It was 3 minutes to go.
I was already out of the stadium. Dude, once they scored the touchdown, I dipped. I was out. I was like, I'm escaping before all the Miami fans start talking shit. By the way,
Well-
Kenny's in the chat, EJ. We'll get to you, Kenny, after this.
Well, it was 19-7. I know this is terrible because you should have gone for it. I think it was was it 4th and 13 or something like that? I was like, okay, Billy Napier, numbnuts. You wasted a timeout earlier. You should have needed all 3 times. They call a timeout, and then your dumbass calls a timeout. So now you waste a timeout. You could have punted it, and at least you're not just surrendering a 26 another touchdown to them. So Billy Napier is just the absolute worst play. I mean, running the team, everyone likes each other. Maybe he gives a good little sermon before the games. He's a nice guy. He's a great political figure. He's the worst coach. We had a play where they had 10 guys on the field. They still can't get 11 players on it. How is this? I hate to say this. I hate to say it because this is not great. This is not great. But we need one of those January 6 moments where every Gator fan just charges the freaking administration office and says, somebody needs to be fired right now. Okay? Somebody needs to be. We need to break the windows.
This Saturday on the bye week, boys, we're storming Gainesville.
We're organizing a freaking Gator football insurrection. Okay, we need to break some damn windows. We need to go in there and we need to force them to who the hell is making decisions around here? Now I get it. We did play number 3, number 4 on the road. Theoretically, as Josh Pate would say, which I really like Josh Pate. You could theoretically be the 5th best team in the country and lose both those games. I get it. But here's the deal. It comes down to the way we lost. This wasn't like Georgia versus Tennessee, where it's literally a flip of the coin who's going to win. This was, we're completely wasted. So, long story short, Billy Napier completely inept, wasted defense. Rob Roberts should be the head coach right now. Get rid of Napier. Maybe we'll do something. Hell, give Gus Malzahn. How the hell is Florida State scoring 80 points a game? They look unstoppable. They were the worst team. They were worse than we were. We're better than they were last year. So everyone remember that. But here's the deal. They went from worst to first. Billy Napier is like cross-eyed Billy. What the hell are you doing? Gus Malzahn goes from Orlando. He drives 5 hours north. And now they have the most explosive offense I've ever. They had the ball every single time. It was 4 plays, touchdown. I'm like, oh, 4 plays, huh? We can't even gain 4 yards. Let alone, we haven't scored 4 touchdowns total the whole damn season. Well, I don't even count against FBS. Mm-hmm. We haven't scored 4 touchdowns total against FBS. It's a total meltdown. We need an insurrection. We need to go up there. They built the new stadium, or they're building a new stadium. Why the hell are we building a new stadium? Nobody wants to go see that. We need to go in there and tell Scott Strickland's, you got one job, buddy. And guess what? You're screwing it up. Get an interim coach. Or at least if you don't want to fire him because maybe they got some dirt on you, I don't know. We need to tell him, can we hire an offensive coordinator and tell Brokeback Billy he can't call any more offensive plays for the rest of his life. At least that would give me some hope for Texas.
Don't touch the offense. Don't let him. I don't care if he wants to sit in those meetings. I don't even want him like the new Colts GM that's on the sidelines and stuff all the time. I don't even want him doing that. I don't want him peering through the windows looking at the offensive film room. Keep him away from DJ Lagway. I don't know, sign a restraining order. I don't know, something. I want to get to a few of these comments from Kenny and Rob, and then we're going to get into the whole Billy Napier thing. Kenny said, "What's up, fellas?
Yeah.
Another sad Sunday." Is he gone yet? He said defense getting worn out, not carrying the offense, and injuries are starting to pile up. Yep, that's what happens when you face good competition back to back. Injuries are going to be an issue. Kenny said had the momentum after the touchdown, and he blew it. Dude, we just went on like 30 minutes talking about that.
Yeah,
It's a
and
problem.
the touchdown, interception. It's like we're on cloud 9. Fucking throw the ball. Sorry, maybe we're gonna censor us now.
No, you're good. No, as long as you don't do it in the first like 2 minutes of the video, you're good.
Okay, free speech, everybody. Here's the deal. Touchdown, interception. Kenny's absolutely right. 90%. How many SEC teams do we have? 14. Wait, is there 16?
16 now.
15 out of the 16. 15 out of 16. At least get a field goal. At least get a field goal right there. Bonehead, dumb as rocks, cross-eyed, broke-back Billy is the only one that just says, "Oh, Miami, we tried. Please run it down our throats now." Okay, back to you. Sorry.
No, you're good, dude. I'm reading these out. If you have anything to say, go for it. Kenny said, "Why was TJ on that 4th down? Didn't understand that." That's not my issue, Kenny. My issue was running a 2-yard route on a 4th and 3. Does not make any sense. Like, go to the sticks. We talked about that.
Sturdivant got hurt, so they had to put in TJ Abrams, who against USF, my nephew completely took him out. TJ, he could not he doesn't understand when you get out there, run across the first down marker, then turn around. He doesn't understand that. So is that the wide receiver or is that the coach that's supposed to say, "Hey, when you run your route, it's only 3 yards. It's only 3 yards. Just run to the stick and turn around." That's all we want you to do. Instead, he runs a yard and turns around and gets tackled instantly. And how is Miami all over the place? Don't we have 4 other receivers out there? When he caught the ball, there were 3 guys on him. Like, how? That doesn't make any sense to me. It's like there's 4 other receivers running down the field, but the one that we choose to throw to, there's 3 Miami defenders immediately tackling him.
Which, by the way, there's 4 guys on the line. There's 3 guys on him, so that's 7, right? So then there's 4 other guys on the field that are on the 4 other receivers.
Right. So I'm like, is it a conspiracy that we're deliberately throwing the ball to the guy that has 0 chance of getting the first down? Because from a math standpoint, I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, you threw the ball to this guy who's clearly not going to get the first down because he's slow and gets tackled, can't break a tackle if they injected him with freaking nanobites. And then there's 4 other guys who are presumably on single coverage. Mm-hmm. Maybe Miami is just that fast where it doesn't matter who you throw it to. They're just instantly there. But it's just complete ineptitude.
Rob S. said after not kicking the field goal, defense gets another stop, and then he ran 3 straight plays up the middle and go for it on 4th and 2 on the 50. Maybe this guy has no offensive philosophy. Yep, that's what we were talking about. You're running up the middle 3 times in a row, which is do some. It's the meme I sent you, EJ. The guy, the little drawing, hitting the thing with the stick. Like, do something like that. That's how I feel like I am with Billy Napier. I totally agree, Rob. We talked about that. EJ was talking about how it's so predictable and how like Miami was like, all right, bet we're just gonna run an inside blitz and bring both our linebackers straight down the middle alongside this really good D line and just beat up your offensive line and overpower them. And that's what happened. So they loaded up in an 8-9 man box, did an inside blitz, and Jaden Ball couldn't even do anything. So that right there is, it's just bad coaching. I agree, Rob. Kenny said, "What up, Rob, my boy? We can't get a break." Kenny said, "At least Florida State forced Norvell to get a coordinator." Here's the thing, though, Kenny. Norvell had successful offenses at Memphis and other places he was before that. You know what I mean? Like that's the crazy thing. Billy Napier has never been a good OC. Never had a good offense at all. He got fired from Clemson. He had a horrible offense at Arizona State. I think it was like 70th in the country. Back in like 70th in the country when there was like 20 fewer FBS teams, by the way. And So it's like not even a middling offense. And then he goes to Louisiana, and yeah, he finds a little bit of success there, but you're in the Sun Belt, bro. And it ain't going to work in the SEC.
And when he was in the Sun Belt, it's not like he was blowing people out.
Nope.
These games were relatively close, and he was able to win. So, what's happening? How did we manage? And people have been saying this. And someone needs to explain this to me. They put up the 2015 Alabama coaching staff. We probably should put this on the screen. 2015 coaching. Nick Saban was the head coach. You had Mario Cristobal. You had Billy Napier. You had Dan Lanning. You had Lane Kiffin. You had Kirby Smart. You had a couple other guys. That entire coaching tree was on that one freaking team. But we managed to get the most boneheaded one out of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Can you believe that? Now, Mario Cristobal, people say, we should have got Mario Cristobal. He's from Miami, so he's like home. He's invested 100% in Miami. He loves he's from there. So we're not going to get him. You could have got Lane Kiffin. You could have got any one of these guys, but you went for boneheaded Billy. Yep. And we're paying for it. Scared money, gonna make $25 million payout.
Yep.
I guess scared money does make money.
There you go. Yeah, 2015 staff, all those that you named. I mean, yeah, Mario Cristobal, Lane Kiffin, Tosh Lapoy, who's like the next big up and coming. He's going to be a head coach at a big FBS school this next year. And then Billy Napier. I mean, it's unbelievable, dude. And like you said, we got the worst out of all of them. Next one, it's bad if Vanderbilt, Mississippi State is doing better than us. That's something that we were talking about earlier. Mississippi State's 4-0. And Lebby had nothing there. Nothing. I mean, dude, it was he built it by the transfer portal, which by the way is being underutilized by Billy Napier. I don't know if it's because he had a year under Dabo or whatever when he was at Clemson, and just thinks, hey, we don't need transfers. And look how that's treating Clemson right now. They're 1-3. But yeah, I mean, it's horrible, dude. It's horrible. Vanderbilt's killing it as well. Yeah, Clark Lee is doing phenomenal there. They've had 2 really good road wins in a row. I mean, it's unbelievable, EJ. Rob said it was the same with LSU. Every receiver had 3 guys covering them somehow. It's like these route concepts, and this offense is terrible. That's something we've been talking about for a long time, Rob. It's the route trees. The route trees don't help out at all. We usually have only 1-2 receivers on. I'm not even joking. Sometimes we have 1 receiver on the field and like 3 tight ends. It's I didn't even know we had that many tight ends, honestly. I don't know who the hell is out there. But usually it's about 2 receivers and a tight end or 2 tight ends. It's usually 12, 13 personnel. And I don't understand that, Rob, when you have some great receivers. Like, these are great receivers. That's what I don't understand. So I agree. It's a problem, Rob. You said, just like I blame Napier for Lagway's failures, I blame Strickland for Billy's failures and not forcing him to get an OC. Yep. Chip, let's talk about Ryan Day. Ryan Day literally won a national championship as an OC, right? Becomes head coach of Ohio State. Doesn't do it again. Keeps falling short. What does he do? Hires Chip Kelly as an OC. Gives the offense fully to Chip Kelly. He takes a full step back away from it after, a few really rough years with the offense. And look what happens. They win a national championship. So even a guy who was a successful offensive mind, even a guy who was a successful offensive coordinator, has the mental wherewithal to be like, I'm going to take a step back. And Billy Napier does not want to do that. It's unreal.
And that's such a great point. He was the offensive coordinator for Urban Meyer, which you have to be good to do that, and so was Dan Mullen. And he went out and got Chip Kelly, who was a sort of a failed head coach, but still a brilliant offensive mind. Okay, and some guys can't be the top guy, but they can still be the coordinator. Mike Norvell did the same thing. He's an offensive coach, former offensive coordinator, and he said, "Okay, it's not working. I need to focus on the big picture. Let me go bring in a semi-failed head coach, if you want to call Gus Malzahn that, who's looking to just be an OC. And he goes out and get Gus Malzahn to say, I just want you to go back to your roots and just focus on the offense. You don't have to do the head coaching thing. And now what happens? Florida State has made a 180-degree turnaround, and they look unstoppable. Then you have Brokeback Billy. It's one thing. Here's the other thing. Well, he's going to do what he is successful. It's one thing if you're going to be the offensive coordinator and the head coach. You better be a good one. Steve Spurrier called his own plays, was his own offensive coordinator. They had 11 penalties a game. But you know what they also did? They scored 47 points a game against FBS teams because they didn't play. Well, they maybe played a couple 1AA back then. And then when they played 1AA, they scored 80 points. Who else? Dan Mullen. He also called his own plays. Oh. We scored 30-something points a game when he was called. So it's one thing if you're going to be the head coach and the offensive coordinator, you better have a good offense. But when you're the head coach and your offense is quite literally statistically an anomaly, meaning you've got top 10 roster talent on offense. If you compare everybody's offense, all 133 teams, and you say from a star talent perspective, you look at just the offensive players and you rank who's got the most, we'd be like number 10 in that against all the teams in the nation. We got a 5-star quarterback and 2 4-star quarterbacks. The running backs are all 4 stars. The offensive line is all, well, 2 of them are 3-star. They're all top stars. And the only difference is you have a head coach who is so out of the freaking loop as to how to call plays and design an offense that is somewhat functional. You have an offense that can't even score more than a touchdown a game. In the last 3, we've scored 1 touchdown in the there was a point in the game, my friend Brandon, I hope he's watching. He was like, this is going to be the game where we lose the 460 streak of scoring. And I was like, the ball's going to bounce off somebody's helmet and we're going to miraculously score. And we did. But had we not did that, we would have been shut out. So how do you score 1 touchdown a game as the offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, play caller, and you can still look in the mirror and say, I'm a great coach. We're real close to being dangerous. He was right. You are close to being dangerous. Dangerously awful. All right. Sorry. Look, I like the shirt though, by the way. I like the shirt. Oh, you're muted.
Oh, there we go. We're back, baby. Yeah, I'm back. No, I just said coming soon. I was like, no, I'm joking. Probably not. But all right. You guys are kind of talking about some stuff that we're about to get into. Before we do the Week 5 picks and end it off, let's just talk about Billy Napier real quick. You're asking who we think we should hire when Billy Napier is going to be fired. Let's dive into that. Before we do, I just want to read some of the Billy Napier stats. Okay, for his tenure.
Oh yeah, I've been waiting for this.
So let's just look at Florida versus Miami. 141 yards is the fewest in a game since 1999. We failed to reach 10 points for the first time since 2022. Guess who was also coaching in 2022?
Brokeback Billy.
Yep. Scored 10 or less in consecutive games for the first time since 1989.
Holy.
Went 0-13 or worse on third down for the first time since 1998. He's 20-22 all time at Florida. That's the worst since Raymond Wolf in the 1940s. He's 3-12 against rivals. Let me read out the record against the rivals. 0-2 against Miami, 1-2 against FSU, 1-3 against LSU, has not beaten Georgia, and 1-2 against Tennessee. For a lot of us, those are the only games that really matter, and we can't even win those. 10-15 against the SEC, 13-21 against Power 4 teams, 6 losses to unranked teams, 2 losing seasons, and this will be his third, 5-15 away from home, 4-16 against top 25 teams. So, and by the way, 2 of those 4 wins was, of course, Ole Miss and LSU late last year. So, this is just unbelievable. I don't know how people look at this and think this man needs to stay here. The big question I have for you, EJ, when do you think he'll be fired? Because it's going to happen. And when do you think he should be fired? Because I'll just give you my thought.
Yes, give me your thought.
I think he does a good job of keeping the team together. And so do we really want to see a Florida Gator team just fall apart? Which they already are kind of falling apart. But do you really want to see them fall apart? The good thing if we do fire him now in this bye week is that number one, you can start the coaching search. You know what I mean? You can get the guy that you probably want. Negotiation will be great. Also, too, I think the conversation about this, will Billy Napier be, will he be fired or not? I think that goes away, too. I think that's a positive. I think the big negative if you do fire him, once again, is you lose the team. I personally think getting him out right now is probably the best bet. Is it the best bet for the team? Probably not. It's probably in the best interest for the team. It's probably worth waiting at least until the week before the Georgia game. That's probably the best bet for the team, and in my prediction, that's probably when he'll be fired. Because there's a good chance that we can be 2-5 going into Georgia, with maybe a win against Mississippi State. I think that Texas is also a winnable game, but against that defense, I don't know. It's not the offense that scares me. It's not Arch Manning that scares me. He was staring down and talking shit to a Sam Houston player. So he's obviously not mentally there. So I'm not worried about Arch Manning. I'm worried about that Texas D line. I'm worried about that Texas secondary and linebacking group. I'm going to that game, so we'll see what happens there. But
Bless your heart.
Yep, thank you. And then we go to Texas A&M after that at Texas A&M. We're not winning that game. I think we can all admit that that's going to be Texas A&M is kind of what I thought they were going to be. They're scary. They can. I mean, we saw how Miami just ran it on us yesterday. Imagine a team that is 10 times better than them on the ground. That's what Texas A&M is. Also with a threat down the field now with Marcel Reed and these 2 receivers that they have. Also, great defense led, of course, by one of the best defensive minds in college football. Then we play Mississippi State at home. Probably going to be going to that one, as you know, EJ. That one is a winnable game, but Mississippi State looks good. So their defense looks a little susceptible, but they've been playing a lot more fundamental football on that side of the ball. So keep an eye out for them. And then we go into the bye week to play Georgia. I believe that's the rest of the schedule. So I think that's when we'll fire Billy Napier because I think we lose against Texas. I think we lose against Texas A&M. I think we might sneak one out versus Mississippi State. And then, of course, we have that bye week, and I think that's when we'll fire Billy Napier pretty much halfway through the season. EJ, what do you think? When do you think he'll be fired? When do you want him to be fired, and why?
I've been thinking about this because firing coaches nowadays is it's not like it used to be where you'd fire a coach at the end of the season and there was no transfer portal, so the new coach would at least at worst inherit the same roster less all the seniors and the NFL draft picks. But now you've got this, if they fire him, the transfer portal opens. And the reality of what happens when the transfer portal opens, it opens for 30 days. So let's say they fire Billy Napier, like as soon as we get off this Zoom, they fire him. So the transfer portal will be open until October 20, whenever. So players can enter their name into the portal. Now, that means that teams can contact them. It means 9 out of 10, they'll probably land a spot. Now, it'll all be under the table because these teams aren't going to announce, oh, we just got Jaden Baugh. They're going to announce it at the end of the season. But typically what happens is when you enter the name into the transfer portal, what teams typically do is they remove you from the roster, they remove you from the depth chart, you don't come to practice anymore, you're effectively off the team. That could be chaotic, right? Now, it's not like these players can really do anything if they're off the team, so it's like you're still incentivized to go and play. So I think if you're going to fire him mid-season, you would have to have some sort of internal strategy to have a interim coach that resonates with the players. Or you could at least bring someone in. I remember, like, hell, Brian Johnson, the freaking quarterback coach for Dan Mullen. He was great. Why the hell can't you just bring him over? You have to have a backup plan to at least keep the players interested in being on the team, because for all his complete ineptitude as an offensive coach and really as a head coach, he's still the players are still, they really like him. So you got to have somebody that they all connect with. Hell, I'd put Jaluk in there, even though he was out there beating the hell out of LSU pre-game. I'd put him out there.
Facts.
At least he's showing some fight.
He's my pick for an assistant coach to step into the position, by the way.
Yeah, like put him out there. At least he's willing to fight.
That's true.
So the other thing is, so the thing opens up. So if you have a backup plan to prevent that chaos from happening, then I think you do it immediately following Texas A&M, because I think it's a bye week. You say, okay, it's a bye week. Let's give Brokeback Billy one more chance. Texas doesn't look elite. They do have a great defense, but they're kind of like us. They lost the one game that, to the good team they played, and then they have an entire month of playing Sam Houston and UTEP and all these teams, and then they have a bye week this week, and then they play us. So they haven't played anybody. So hell, for all we know, they could be 1-3 if they had to go play at LSU, at Miami, and all these teams. So they're going to say, look, Brokeback Billy, we're going to give you this bye week. We're going to see if you can do something against Texas. Now, if they beat Texas, that buys them one more week. You can go to Texas A&M. We're gonna get steamrolled. You know why we're gonna get steamrolled? Can I explain why we're gonna get steamrolled? Logan was absolutely right, by the way. Texas A&M is a lot better than I thought they were gonna be. That is going to be a game. That's going to be like a Georgia, Tennessee, a Alabama, Georgia from last year, where you're going to have an offense that can put up points. You're going to have an offense that can match them. Your defense is not going to be able to win you that game when you go to College Station. Your defense, every year you have a game. You may have an elite defense, but every year you're going to play one game where the other team just has it figured out. They're going to score on you, and you actually need your offense to help you out. When you play a game like that with Billy Boneheaded Napier, what's going to happen? It's going to be 14-0, 4 minutes into the game. And DJ Lagway is going to give you that look like, Elko is going to say, got him. All out blitz. You can't throw. You're not going to go deep. You can't even complete a 2-yard out. Interception. 21-0, 28-0. Then at that point, it's going to look like that South Carolina game that got Dan Mullen fired. Because people are going to say, well, why the hell? The players are going to say, well, why the hell should we play if the defense is going to say, well, why the hell should we come out here if the offense can't score? So you're going to need a complete team to go win that game. So you're going to get pummeled. And now it may, 99%, probability, but 1% Texas A&M could just drop the ball, fumble it 10 times. And then even if they fumbled it 10 times, we still wouldn't score unless they fumbled it literally on the 1-yard line. And even if they fumbled it on the 1-yard line, I don't even think we could run it in. It'd be like 4th and goal, and Billy Napier would be like, can we run the ball in? Blah, blah, blah. Such a freaking dumbass. Anyway, I think if it were me, you fire him right after Texas A&M. You use these next 3 weeks to have a plan to say, hey, team, I know y'all can enter the transfer portal, which is the dumbest shit I ever heard. The transfer portal, they eliminated the spring transfer portal, which, oh, by the way, Brokeback Billy used because he sucks during the season to get trained. How do you not even go? You're not even in the playoffs, dude. You're nowhere near the playoffs. But somehow these teams that are in the playoffs 24/7, having to work their asses off, no time off, are getting way better transfer portal than you. And you're not even in the play. Anyway, they got rid of because he used the spring transfer portal to say, well, we're just going to go out and get the sloppy seconds of all the players in the spring transfer portal. Guess what? They got rid of it, big dog. You know what that means? You can't do that anymore. And now that you're trashed, who the hell wants to come to Florida? Who the hell wants to? They're doing reverse anti-recruiting against us. These coaches, this is what they do. They go on to ESPN. Billy Napier's such a great coach. They have so much talent. Nick Saban, they got the best roster I've ever seen. They got the best roster he's ever. And then when they hang up the phone and call the recruits, you know what they say? Why the hell would you want to go play for Billy Napier? Broke back Billy. He can't even. We had more 3rd down conversions than they had yards. Look at Eugene Wilson. He was 5-star or 4-star. They didn't even throw him the ball. They lied to him. Jaden Baugh, probably the best running back in the SEC. They give him 7 carries. Oh, and by the way, when they give him 7 carries, he grown man touchdown, stiff arm, Heisman on that, Superman in the end zone, and they don't even give him the ball again for the rest of the game. So why the hell would you want to go play for a coach that does that? And so now you're at a point where you're not getting any recruits. So you need a backup plan. Get rid of them after Texas A&M. They're going to run all over. They're going to hike the ball to Marcel Reed, and they're just going to run straight down the field and score. And then when we get the ball, it's a deer in the headlights. And it's going to be 46-9. We're going to get 3 field goals. And they're going to blow us out. And then what's going to happen is they're going to get Sunday morning, they're going to get rid of him. And then hopefully they announce a interim head coach to maintain the continuity. Here's the crazy thing though, Logan. It's going to be like the Notre Dame guy. The interim coach is going to come in. He's going to say, F this Billy Napier offense. I'm opening it up. And we're going to look like world beaters out there. The defense is going to start tackling people, intercepting balls. We're going to be running the ball down the field. We're going to clobber Kentucky. And then people are going to say, well, should we hire this guy? Should we hire? Let's keep these players. Let's say they want to play for him. Let's keep this guy. I can almost guarantee you that's going to 50% chance that's going to happen. Whoever they put there, give it to Jaluk. At least he can fight. Maybe Rob Roberts. Who knows? It's going to be one of those two. I'd bring in Brian Johnson, but that's my thought.
I don't have much to add. I think you hit everything on the head, man. I think that makes sense. Give the guys time to really figure out a good structure. Because yeah, I'm coming from more of an emotional standpoint. I do agree. I think you don't just want to fire him right now. I think that I agree. You're doing the team more bad than good with that. But I think also too, the longer you keep Billy Napier, the more that the virus starts to spread. Right. And so I think the more you're hurting the players around him. So I think there is some kind of gray area, there's some kind of fine line. And I think after the Texas A&M game does make sense. But I don't even know if they'll wait for that, EJ. If we go 1-4, if we lose against Texas and we're 1-4, I feel like they might even pull the trigger right then and there. Because then we're going to go 1-5. We're becoming the FSU that we made fun of last year. That's what's scary. I don't like that at all. So yeah, I agree. I think there's a you gotta be careful with how you go about that. But in all fairness though, FSU had an easy ass schedule and they still got their asses kicked. We at least have the toughest schedule in the country.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, that's besides the point. Yeah, I don't have much else to say, EJ. I like that a lot. Do you have I don't want to dive too deep into this because he's not fired yet, but do you have a guy that's on your top of your mind that you want to hire? If he was fired right now and it said, EJ, one guy, we'll make the call, we'll get him to be the head coach of the Florida Gators, who would you call?
Okay, we need to get rid of Brokeback Billy. Everybody. He's terrible. If you think he's good, you're lost. Now, I do, believe it or not, I do think. Now, what I was saying Brokeback Billy needed to do, which he didn't do, and because he's not all there. Scott Norvell brought in Gus Malzahn. They look unstoppable. I said that Billy Napier needed to call up Nebraska when Scott Frost was coaching there and say, hey, Scott Frost, come be the offensive coordinator. I'll just give you the whole offense. Do whatever you want to do and be the offensive coordinator. Instead, you completely failed when that you could have did that. We would have been more unstoppable than FSU. We'd have been winning these games by 20 points. But you didn't do that. You let him go back to UCF. You're dumb, so you started calling plays. Now, what they need to do, I still think that the backup to the backup is you force him to get an OC. He's not going to do it. So now you got to get a new head coach. So you need to call up the Oregon Dan Lanning. Now, here's the thing. People are going to say, he'll never leave Oregon. He's embedded to Phil Knight money, Oregon Ducks. Here's the deal. Dan Lanning is doing a great job up in Oregon. They're running up the score on everybody. They're in the Big Ten now. They have cool jerseys.
Big game this
Dallas
week.
Wilson. Big game this week. And Dallas Wilson is probably not happy he didn't go there. But anyway, because now you got a quarterback that can't throw. So now I would call him up and say, it's yours if you want it. And let's see what happens. I mean, make him say no. The backup plan would then be, we need to go to Oxford, Mississippi with the Brinks truck. We got the Marco Rubio. His kid's on the football team. Marco Rubio. Go to the U.S. Treasury. Okay. You got access. You're Secretary of State. You can get anywhere in the world. You can go anywhere in the world. Get the Brinks truck from the U.S. Treasury. They print money over there, by the way, if anyone didn't know that. They print the money. Print the money. Put it in the truck. Drive it to Oxford, Mississippi. Marco Rubio. You're a Gator alum. You can do this. You're a Secretary of State. Park it in front of Lane Kiffin's house with painted orange and blue. And say, Lane, this is just the sign-on bonus. Everything that's in this truck is a sign-on bonus. We need you to come to Florida. Now, here's the thing. What's the guy's name? Paul Feinbaum's. I like Paul Feinbaum, but sometimes he's a little bit off his rocker. Paul Feinbaum said, "Well, why would Lane Kiffin go to Florida? He owns Oxford, Mississippi." That's what you would stay there, Paul. But Lane Kiffin is all about change. He always is mindful of what's next. He's been at Oxford 4 years. He's like, this place sucks. I'll never win a national championship here. These people are slow. And guess what? Mississippi, you're not as good as, I don't care what anyone says. Florida, the state of Florida is 1,000 times better than Mississippi in 100 out of 100. I know some people from Mississippi. I love Mississippi. We're good. All you have is a Mississippi River, okay, and it's drying up. So the reality is, you have Biloxi. They got casinos. Who the hell goes to a casino in Biloxi now? Everyone's broke. Anyway, Florida's way better in every way. He still has the house in Boca Raton. He loved his time in Boca Raton. Who doesn't love Boca Raton? He wants to come back. He knows he wants to come back. Florida's amazing. You have everything there. It's hot as hell, but it's great. And here's the deal. He wants change. He wants a chance to win. And he knows by default he has to actually work his ass off to get people to go to Ole Miss. He'll work half the effort and get twice the talent at Florida. And then guess what? It'll be a cold day in, you know what the coldest temperature in the universe is? It's called absolute zero. People don't know that, but absolute zero is the coldest temperature it can be. It'll be absolute zero in hell if Lane Kiffin goes 0-13 on third down with a 5-star quarterback. It'll never happen. It'll never. How many infinity universes? I love Marvel. There's so many universes out there. You will not find one where Lane Kiffin goes 0-13 on third down. I can guarantee you that. He's going to come to Florida, park the Brinks truck, and that search over. Search over. Now, some people say they don't like Lane Kiffin. Those are the two. Dan Lanning says no. Lane Kiffin says yes. Marco Rubio, financial treasury, Brinks truck, print the money, park it in front of his yard, search over.
Rob S. said Shane Matthews, who has ties to Ole Miss, said UF is Kiffin's dream job and would leave in a second. That'd be awesome. So here's my thing, EJ. I think we need a splash hire. There's a couple of guys that I really, really enjoyed that are kind of up and comers. One that I love is Fran Brown from Syracuse. How he turned around that program that quick is unbelievable. But I do like Dan Lanning a lot, but I think we need an offensive guy. And I think Lane Kiffin is the closest you can get to Steve Spurrier with just his offensive style, with how much he talks. I think he is literally he's the young Steve. My only worry is, like you said, he likes a lot of change. I think he's very reactive at times, especially in-game play calling at points. But another point that you made, EJ, it can get worse. He's not going to go 0-13 on third down. And so I would not mind. I wouldn't. That's my dad's hire. He's like, I want Lane Kiffin. I'm like, I respect it. It's not I don't. There's just something weird. Like, I don't. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he has more maturing to do. Lane Kiffin does. I don't know. But I don't know, because you got like Steve Spurrier that was kind of the same way. He was a wild guy, you know what I mean, that loved offense and loved the game and was very reactive and very emotional, and he won a national championship. And Lane Kiffin has proven to recruit, like you said, at Ole Miss, and imagine how different it's going to be here at the University of Florida. I think, at the same time, I don't know. I really enjoy that. I also, like, John Gruden said he wants to come and coach the SEC. Only problem with John Gruden is he's never coached in college. That's the one issue that I have. But that man is one of the most intelligent offensive minds in football, period. And so I think that, once again, you can't get worse with that. He also is an NFL guy, and I think as we continue to get more and more professional in the sport of college football, I think NFL and college keep getting more and more similar. I think you're going to see college coaches be more successful in the NFL and vice versa. But I would probably rather take Lane Kiffin over him, just because Lane Kiffin showed that he can win at this level. Another big guy for me, and especially after yesterday, what Curt Cignetti did at Indiana, I also would not mind Mr. Curt Cignetti to come on over. Only issue with him is he's older. I think he's 63, right? Something 64, 65. He's up there in age a little bit. He's not a guy that you're going to have for more than, if he is a legendary, you're not going to have him for more than probably 6-7 years, right? So that's my issue with Curt. But he is he is a Steve Spurrier, right? His offenses are unbelievable. What he's doing with Fernando Mendoza over there is unreal. They put 63 points on an Illinois defense that is really, really solid. And so I think that's something to look at with Cignetti. And so my top two choices are Cignetti and Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin knows the SEC, so I'd probably lean toward Lane Kiffin. But if Lane Kiffin, for some reason, does want to stay in Ole Miss, does not want to leave Oxford, Cignetti would be my second option. But just because of the SEC, I'm going to stick with Kiffin. But, yeah, and what was your first one again? You said Dan Lanning, right? I wouldn't mind Dan. I just don't know if Dan Lanning would leave Oregon. I don't know. I don't know if he would dip out of there.
Yeah, and that's why I was just like, I don't think he would either, but you at least got to make him say no.
Right. I agree. Like I said, I don't want any up-and-comers, and there's a lot of up-and-comers, like I said earlier, that I like. I think it has to be a splash higher, though. I like Curt Cignetti. Cignetti Spaghetti. I didn't even know who the guy was till you start talking about him last year. So, I looked this up. So Steve Spurrier was 44 when he became the coach in 1990. Okay.
Lane Kiffin is 50 right now. So, kind of similar, same age.
There you go. Hey man, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's young enough to where I think we would have a very long time. We have a Canes fan in here saying I'm a Canes fan from a small town in Indiana. I'm 49. I liked Miami since I was 9 in this small town. I sort of like Miami because they wasn't like Notre Dame. Y'all didn't quit though. Respect. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, our boys definitely fought hard, and you guys have a good. Just go beat Florida State for us, dude. I can't stand those fans need to shut up. They're terrible. Canes fans, and I said this earlier. I was at the game. I don't know your name, but I was at the game yesterday, and everyone was actually really cool. Like I was worried going down there, but everyone in Miami was really cool. So I was
we had a couple of Canes fans that came to the Gator Bar here in San Diego, and they were great. You know, because but mainly we were all kind of like we suck, and Miami but they were pessimistic. They were like, I don't think I'm nervous about this game, and I was like, why? All you need to do is show up and go out there and just randomly call a play, and it'll work.
Yeah. No, honestly, dude. Nicholas said Canes, their defense, only guys that showed up yesterday. Rob said, no, Gruden, look back at his offense in the NFL, terrible. I'm not saying that Gruden used to call the offensive plays in college, but I do think that he would be a great guy to kind of oversee the roster. I think he'd be a really good guy to oversee the offense. But yeah, I don't know if I would have him calling plays. I like the way we played, even though not perfect. The Cam Ward shit was flash. Miami is not perfect. Pounding it in the rain, I like the win way more than last year. That's what people are saying. They're like, Miami had their back against the wall. They didn't play the greatest. I think they showed a lot of fight. I think you can agree, EJ. When they needed to get the win, they got the win. And so you got to give props to the Miami team for sure. Lanning's buyout is ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know his buyout actually off the top of my head, but it's probably up there. I think we both agree Lane Kiffin probably is the best hire. I'm still a little bit hesitant on him. But I think he just based on the whole landscape of college football, he's probably the best, especially if he wants to come to Florida. Pay him what he wants, and like we were talking about, EJ, it can't get any worse than what we see now.
Yeah, and I do want to just comment on this really quick because I heard Rob's comment about the buyout. So the buyouts in these contracts, how they work, there's sort of two ways. If you get fired, there's a buyout. You fired without cause, you get whatever that number is. So for Billy Napier, I think it's like $26 million right now. If you get fired with cause, they're going to pay you something like, but not nearly the money. And that's what happened with the Tennessee coach. Remember the McDonald's bags guy? Now, Dan Lanning, if you leave for another job, there's a de-escalation of payment that's owed. Now, the reason why Lane Kiffin is so ideal is he has about a $35 million buyout if they fired him, but it's only about $3 million if he leaves for another job, meaning he goes and gets hired somewhere else. So it's very similar to Mike White, the basketball coach, where I thought he was an idiot for I would have gotten fired and just fire me and then pay me the $12 million. But he left willingly, and Florida didn't have to pay. Georgia, I think, had to pay like $800,000, something ridiculously low. Dan Lanning, I think his buyout is substantially more than Lane Kiffin's if he were to leave and actually accept another job. I don't know the number off the top. It's probably like 15 million or so like that, but it's not as nearly as much as it would be if they fired him and had to pay him, whatever the 40 million or whatever is. Now, at least it's that, and it's not the ridiculous Jimbo Fisher Texas A&M. Can you believe that? It was like $75 million at one point. So you can't tell me that Jimbo Fisher was fired from Texas A&M with $70 million buyout with an offense that is world. If we had their offense right now, we'd be a lot better. And they fired him with $70 million. So we have to fire Billy Napier immediately. I will just say this, or after Texas A&M, but I will just say this. John Gruden. I have mixed feelings about John Gruden as the head coach. I know some people, I want John Gruden. John Gruden, don't get me wrong, anybody would be better than Billy Napier. But John Gruden, I just worry that he's going to play or coach at the veracity that you need at the college game. At the college game, there's so much going on. There's so much stimuli. You're dealing with 18-year-olds who are now getting paid. The staff is typically not as professional as in the NFL. You don't have a manager managing everything, so you have to do everything. It's just completely different. And you're seeing Bill Belichick, who went to North Carolina. He was the great. They said he was the GOAT. He's like the best NFL coach ever. They're terrible. But now, don't get me wrong. That's his first year. So you give everyone the first year, right? But I just don't think Gruden would be nearly as plug and play. Like, that's the thing. If you get a new coach, you have to sacrifice the first year as being trash. Like, you're going to be terrible. Look at Mississippi State with Jeff Lebby. They were FCS level. Now they're good. Oklahoma, trash. Auburn, they were trash. Now they've all turned it around. Lane Kiffin, if you get Lane Kiffin, not only will you have a decent first year, but that second year with plug and play quarterbacks the way we do now, we'd be ready. As long as he gets a defensive coordinator, he's got one now. Bring his ass over. Hell, keep Rob Roberts. Keep Rob Roberts. I'm telling you, Lane Kiffin's the only answer. Now, he's not the only answer. Signetti, I like him. The Georgia Tech guy. I like the Syracuse guy, Syracuse.
Yeah,
they lost their quarterback, though.
He's a really good pick.
Georgia Tech. Guys, Georgia Tech, they hadn't been this good since they were running the triple option with Joe Hamilton. That was like late 90s. So, guys, Georgia Tech is a better. Haynes King is out there supermaning people. how the hell did we get to a point where Georgia Tech is a powerhouse and we're like bottom feeders? So Georgia Tech coach, Indiana coach, Syracuse coach, great backups, Lane Kiffin, Marco Rubio. If you're listening, Marco Rubio, the government is listening to this podcast right now. Drive the Brinks truck to the Fed, print the money, put it in the truck, paint the truck orange and blue. I got a scheme. We can do AI. Drive it to Lane Kiffin's house, park it in front of his yard with a big LED sign that says, "Come home, coach. Come back to Florida. This is the down payment." He'd be gone in an instant.
There you go. Yeah, I appreciate you, man. Thank you to the Miami fan in the chat. He said I'm subbed. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you. Yeah, man. I agree. I think Brent Key would also be a really good choice there. But you mentioned something about the second-year jump for Lane Kiffin. If you look at his record, and we'll move on after this, but second year at USC jumped up, went from 8-5 to 10-2. Second year at Florida Atlantic went from first year at Florida Atlantic, he did really, really well. He then had a down year, but then he started at 11-3, went down to 5-7, then jumped back up to 11-3. Ole Miss started out 5-5, jumped up to 10-3. And so he's going to make an impact very, very early. We've seen that in his coaching tenure. So I agree. I think if you want a really quick impact from a head coach, Lane Kiffin's probably the way to go. Anything else you want to say, EJ, before we just kind of – we'll make this kind of quick, but we'll run through the Week 4 reactions.
That's it. Hopefully hang in there, Gator fans. The only silver lining is that these were two top 5 teams with two really good coaches, both better than Billy. And Miami versus Florida State in 2 weeks, that's going to be a game. That's what I just want to watch, Logan. I just want to watch a real game where the coach gives you the best chance to win. The players are hyped up and wanting to play, and it's just a classic. Instead, we have to watch Brokeback Billy, not understanding you call a timeout when you really need to stop the clock because you got your 2-minute drill. Not after another. He's the most boneheaded person I've ever seen. It makes you physically sick to watch how terrible this team is on the offense. And he even said that on the press conference. We were particularly good on defense, but not really great on offense. Yeah, no shit. So, Miami, LSU, great job. You're going to have good years. Florida, we can look to the future. I'm telling you, if we hired Lane Kiffin, we'd be in heaven. I'd be on cloud 9. I'd be on cloud 9.
Well, hopefully, hopefully the Gators make that decision sometime soon. Honestly, I feel like we started the podcast at the perfect time, EJ. Look at us. We're down in the dumps right now, but we're gonna look back on this in about 2 to 3 years and be laughing at it.
Yeah.
Going to the freaking Orange Bowl or something. All right, let's go ahead and go through week 4 reaction. It's a different game. I bought in the John Gruden shit during the Nevin Shapiro. The game was different. You guys could really get John Gruden, Steve Spurrier. Yes, sir.
Did you check that out?
What is it? Oh, you got the A.
The only positive thing of our weekend is that we were able to get the new iPhone. Oh, and by the way, look at this wallet. Look at this wallet. The blue wallet.
Didn't you get the you got the Slim, right?
No, this is the Pro Max. Is the
Pro
orange.
Max?
Yeah, you get the orange with the blue wallet, Gator fans.
That's clean.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
I love it. At least you had something to be happy about because we need it. All right, the Dan Mullen Fighting Rebels of UNLV get a win over Miami, Ohio in this game. EJ, we both picked UNLV to get it done, and they do. They are favored by 2.5. Crazy, man. Like, Las Vegas knows what to do with these spreads. Miami, Ohio had a 98.2% chance to win it in the fourth quarter, and they lose it, man. An insane 17-point score by UNLV in the fourth to get it done on a last-second field goal.
Yeah, when I turned on the game, they were down big at halftime. I was like, what the hell? Of course they're going to. But Dan F. Mullins, he's trolling us. He said, hey, I'm going to score more points in the second half than you've scored the last 3 games total.
And he gets it done. 41-38. Unbelievable. Well, we got that one going. Next one, we have North Carolina and Bill Belichick travel to here in Orlando. And they lose 34-9 to Scott Frost and the Golden Knights. Unbelievable game from UCF. UCF was favored by 6.5, but I thought, you know what? Bounce back time for Bill Belichick. Nope, he was kissing his 24-year-old girlfriend right before the game, got distracted, and lost this game. Man, Gio Lopez, the quarterback that they brought in, I believe from like South Alabama, not looking good at all. This offense looks horrendous. The defense looks like they just look very soft and not physical. Led to a big win for UCF. And you picked UCF, by the way. Good job. Smart man.
Scott Frost, keep it frosty. I like that. Taven Jackson, good player.
He's popping off, dude. He's playing really, really well. On the ground, in the air. Dude's insane. Good quarterback play, we wish. Next one we have Tulane and Ole Miss, man. This was a game that I threw on here. Ole Miss was favored by 12.5, but I was talking to EJ, and I was like, hey, man, this is just a game to look out for. And because Tulane's a good football team, was undefeated coming into this game, and they lose. They lose 45-10. Insane win for Ole Miss. The backup quarterback for Ole Miss, Trinidad, I'm not going to try to say his last name, played really well in this game on the ground and in the air. Looks way better than Austin Simmons ever did.
Man, Ole Piss versus Tulane. I'm telling you. Aren't they like, well, Tulane's in Louisiana, so they're kind of close. Yeah, this is why you want Lane Kiffin. You can have a star quarterback, Austin Simmons, top ranked. He gets hurt. You got to put the backup in. We're still scoring 45 points. That's why you need Lane Kiffin. All right, next.
Next one we have SMU travels to TCU. This game last year, I think, ended up with like 90 total points or something insane. It was a wild offensive spurt, and it was not any different in this one. TCU gets the win 35-24, mainly because of Josh Hoover, that quarterback they have for him. I think is a future NFL quarterback, one of the most accurate quarterbacks I've seen in college football in a minute. Bro's insane. Kevin Jennings playing well, but just throwing a couple interceptions probably is what hurt this team in this game. Did not watch it, but man, TCU running strong right now, man, 3-0.
Hoover. J. Edgar Hoover. I'm telling you, this guy is great. I forgot who they played the opening game.
TCU, North Carolina, right?
Oh yeah. So when I watched J. Edgar Hoover versus UNC, I was like, I'm super impressed with this guy. Now, North Carolina's trash, but J. Edgar Hoover. How the hell does TCU have a quarterback that looks like freaking Brett Favre out there, and we got a guy that's worse than Emory Jones? Can somebody make that make sense? Who knows? But anyway, great job, TCU.
Was not on my bingo card. Next one we have Arizona State travels to Waco and gets it done 27-24. This is what happens when Sam Leavitt is comfortable and when he has a little bit of a run game that he can rely on. Everything kind of falls in place. But that's my issue with Arizona State this year is that he needs a run game to play well, and that's obviously not always going to be there. It was in this game. Sam Leavitt leads Arizona State to a win. And even though Sawyer Robinson played another good game, wasn't enough to get it done.
They got wacky in Waco. They forced 3 turnovers that led to 3 field goals. So, great job, Arizona State. And I figured with their run game, they'd be able to at least keep it close. And he got the better quarterback. So I go Arizona State.
Yep. Yep, I picked Baylor, and yeah, that didn't really end up well. Next one we have Utah. Utah favored by 3 points against Texas Tech. This is my Big 12 championship game, and Texas Tech 34-10. They get the win at Utah, but really that's not reflective of the actual game at all. Texas Tech just started scoring there late when Utah got desperate. But, man, what a good game. What a good defensive game by both teams. Texas Tech, man, just more talented. I think that's what it came down to. That's what won them this game.
Crazy that, I picked Texas Tech to win the Big 12 in the preseason, but I was a dumbass and picked Utah to win this game, mainly because it was on the road. And I'm like, well, Utah's going to do something. Texas Tech was so much bigger, faster, stronger. Listen. How the hell is Texas Tech doing this and we look like the way that we look? Great job, Red Raiders. Oil money. Buy some wins.
Yes, sir. Next one we have Michigan Wolverines travel to Lincoln, Nebraska, and get the win 30-27, man. Nebraska tried to push there late to get to, win this game. Was not enough. Dylan Raiola actually played a pretty decent game, but and honestly played better than Bryce Underwood in my opinion. Bryce Underwood is literally a game manager quarterback. He is. He doesn't make these big major mistakes. And whenever he needs to run on the ground, he'll run on the ground. Whenever he needs to make the throws, he'll make the throws. And he has a good enough defense where he doesn't need to be anything more than that. Because of that, Michigan's a dangerous team, and they beat a really good Nebraska team.
Here's a stat for you, Gator fans. You're going to love this. Brokeback Billy style. 0 runs for Florida over 20 yards this season. Michigan versus Nebraska. 3 explosive runs. 37-yard Bryce Underwood. 75-yard Justice Hayes. 54-yard Jordan Marshall. So one game against an unranked team, you get 3 major runs that are all much more than what we've ever had this season. Oh, great.
Unbelievable. Next game we got Auburn. Auburn Tigers travel to Oklahoma in a pretty funny storybook type of matchup for Jackson Arnold here in Norman. They lose 17-24 in a horribly officiated game. Jackson Arnold did not play too bad. Big shout out to Hugh Freeze for putting Jackson Arnold in comfortable positions because he's really not that great of a quarterback. It's just Hugh Freeze is doing a really good job putting him in situations that he's comfortable with, using his legs, using his arms when he needs to. John Napier, a quarterback that I think is really good, but also a quarterback that's very inconsistent. Any other year, he wouldn't be touted as one of the best quarterbacks in the country, I don't think, because of his inconsistencies throwing the football. But he has like these really high highs and really low lows, and it hasn't really costed them a game yet. We'll see though, man, in the when he faces that Texas defense here soon. But great job by Oklahoma, big win for them. They've done a really good job this year.
Great job, Brent Venables. This is how you turn a team around and play to your strengths. Guess what, guys? Brent Venables is a defensive mind. Guess what Oklahoma did against Auburn? They got 10 sacks, and their defense looked amazing. Guess what Billy Napier is? He's an offensive coach. Guess what we do? Have the worst offensive performance in 25 years and can't even get more than 60 yards passing.
Unbelievable. Week 4 as a whole, another really rough week for me. A good week for EJ. I finished the week 4-4, EJ 6-2. All time, I'm 20-16. EJ's 27-9.
Oh,
you are killing it. You are absolutely killing it, man. I need to bounce back, and we're gonna see that this week. We're about to talk about the Week 5 picks. It's an awesome slate. I think we have like 11 games or something insane this week. So let's go ahead and dive into them. I'm not picking any upsets anymore. I'm going straight. I need something. I need to figure something out, EJ. And this is the week that upsets are going to happen, though. That's what's scary. Duke, favored by 6.5, is going to Syracuse. Angeli is done for a while. Had a pretty bad injury in that last game against Clemson, which really, really sucks because the game was already won. Can Duke get it done? EJ, how do you feel?
Angeli, man, I feel so bad for that kid. He's such a good quarterback, way better than what we've got right now. but they still were able to hold off and win even when he came out of the game. Funny how that works. Duke, they surprised me in the last game. Illinois completely crushed them. But given the Angeli situation, I'm going to go Duke in the upset. Um, Field goal. Blue Devils. Win ugly.
I agree. I think Duke's going to get a win here. I think they're a very underrated team. They surprised me as well, EJ. Yeah, they're a very good team. So I have Duke winning this one because of Angeli. Next one we have Cincinnati at Kansas. There's no spread for this game. But yeah, so we'll just call it a pick 'em here. Kansas, a team that just looks very impressive, even though they're not winning some of these games. I do really, really like watching this team. Jaden Daniels is really, really good back there. And I think that, and it's actually, the reason I put this game on the slate is because I like Cincinnati too. They took the L to Nebraska, but since then, a really competent football team. I have Kansas winning this game because they're at home. I think if it was at Cincinnati, I'm picking Cincinnati. But it's at Kansas, I'm picking Kansas. I think Kansas bounces back and gets a big win here.
Give me the Jayhawks. Home field advantage plus just a couple of more weapons than Cincy. Sorry, Cincinnati, but KU's got it. Jayhawks, get it done.
Good pick. Next one, we have Utah favored by only 3.5 at West Virginia and Rich Rod out there. Now, that win against Pitt that West Virginia had really showed fight for this team. I think that was a really good win for West Virginia. I think West Virginia is they could easily upset. It's a very Rich Rod thing to do, right? To kind of have, a bad loss, you know what I mean? Kind of look a little weird, a little off, and then go in and then beat a Utah team. But I think Utah, after losing against Texas Tech, I think they bounce back. I think they get a win and cover that 3.5 at West Virginia.
I agree. Man, we're on a roll here. I got Utah, physicality. West Virginia got beat up there. The coach lost his cool and composure at the end of that game in terms of how to seal a 24-14 lead. Utah is going to do exactly what Pitt did, except better. Utes.
Good pick. Next one, we have TCU at Arizona State. Arizona State favored by 2.5. This is going to be a good game, dude. Here's my thing. TCU has the better quarterback. Obviously. They're not as one-dimensional. Obviously. But Arizona State has one of the toughest slates coming up. I think they literally play Utah and Texas Tech in the next 3 weeks alongside another really good Big 12 opponent. They need this win. They're favored by 2.5. I don't know if they cover that, but I do think Arizona State wins this game because it's a must-win for them.
This is flip a freaking coin and then pick the opposite team. That's how you pick this game. And when I did that, Arizona State is the team that you go with. Now, listen, I really like J. Edgar Hoover. The quarterback for TCU. If it came down to it and you need a quarterback to do something, he can do it. But on the road, I flip the coin and pick the opposite team, and it's Arizona State. That's how you pick these games.
I agree. That's such a toss-up. Next one, we have Ohio State at Washington. We are going to be picking the spread here. The spread is 9.5. I hate that College Game Day did that yesterday, by the way, but whatever. We're just going to do it for this one pick, though, because I think this is a very interesting game, right? You have Julian Sayin going on the road here in a tough environment, one of the toughest in the country out Washington. He's a young guy. He's looked off a little bit. They've kind of, been kind of holding his hand through this entire process so far. 9.5 is what they're favored by. I think Ohio State covers, but I think it's a rough game. I think they pull away in the fourth and get a field goal to win by 10. But I think this is going to be a weird game for Ohio State. I think they just want to go home after this one. But by the way, Ohio State had a bye week. Washington didn't.
I'm happy that we're doing this by the spread because then it makes you think a little bit. Doesn't matter. Buckeyes, go in there and blow them out.
Ooh.
Buckeyes, easy money, easy.
I like it. I like it. Next one, we have Notre Dame favored by 6.5 at Arkansas.
Wow, that's
This
a
is-
crazy. Talk about a crazy matchup here.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Arkansas, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, this is a weird one, right? Notre Dame's 1-2. I don't think they can go 1-3. I also said that about them. I was like, they can't go 0-2 and they went 0-2. So I don't know. This is a weird game for them, man. Arkansas's pissed about last week. Did you watch that game? Brutal. That ending, unbelievable. If I'm an Arkansas fan, I'm like, as a Gator fan, I'm hurt. I'd probably cry. So I'm going to go with Notre Dame. I think they make them cry even harder. No more tissues are going to be at the local Walmart in Arkansas tomorrow or next week.
Arkansas. What the hell were you doing? You were up big, and you let Memphis come back. Spoiler alert. Notre Dame's not going to let you get up big. They got a defense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the offense is not as wild break, fast break, but give me the Irish. The Irish are battle tested, and they're not going to let you run all over them like that. Marcus Freeman, another Gator candidate head coach. Notre Dame wins.
I don't think he would leave Notre Dame, but if he had any kind of interest, I would love Marcus Freeman as the coach of the Florida Gators. Next one we have LSU at Ole Miss. Ole Miss favored by 1.5. This is probably the biggest toss-up, big matchup of the day. I literally don't know what's going to happen in this one, EJ, at all. Lane Kiffin, a big issue with him is he's known to not win these big games, right? He's known to struggle. Last year, college football playoff, loses a couple games in a row. Kentucky at home, and then, of course, the Florida Gators to get kicked out of the playoff. This is a big game. LSU's very vulnerable. Ole Miss has something going. It's at Ole Miss. I have Ole Miss getting a win here. They're favored by 1.5. I think they get it done.
Here's the thing. They don't have the quarterback. The defense isn't as good as last year. But it's Numbnutsmeyer. Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin. Field goal, last second.
There you go. I like it.
Not getting it done.
That's going to be a good game, man. I'm excited for that one. Next one we have Auburn at Texas A&M. Texas A&M favored by 7.5.
Ooh.
How do you feel about that one, EJ?
Auburn, I think, is going to keep it close. They're battle tested. Aggies had a bye week. They're ready to go. They're going to shut them down. No run game. Auburn can't stop them. Texas A&M rolls.
I totally agree.
Give me by 10. Give me 10. Give me 10-point win for A&M Aggies.
Ooh, they cover. Okay, I like it. Yeah, I think Auburn, I feel bad because I think they're going to be a team at the end of the year you look at and you go, wow, they're 6-6. You know what I mean? You're like, this is like a team that should be 10-2. Like they keep the games close. They're going to be like USC last year. You know what I mean? So I really like this Auburn team. I think Texas A&M's too good. They're my preseason favorite to make it to the Final Four. I think they could definitely do that. I have Texas A&M winning this one as well, and I do have them covering. Next one we have Tennessee favored by 10.5 at Mississippi State. This game is upset. This is upset central. I think it's a weird one. When you go to Mississippi State and those people have those cowbells ringing, big road test for Tennessee. This is interesting, EJ. They're riding a high right now going into Starkville.
Who's got the better defense? Who's got the better quarterback? Volunteers gonna roll. Mississippi State, sorry, but you did beat Arizona State. The Vols, they're gonna roll. They're gonna bring the goalposts to Starkville.
I like that. I like it. I'm just saying, keep an eye out for that game. It's going to be interesting. Next one we have, this game was probably one of the best games I've ever seen last year. Bama at UGA. Georgia favored by 3.5. Both coming off of a bye week. So both have been prepping for this game. I really like Georgia in this game, especially what they showed against Tennessee. And now, if they were coming straight off of that Tennessee victory that they had, I would probably pick Bama just because I think that they would be, a little fatigued coming off of that. They've had a week to rest. I think they're fine. They're back where they need to be mentally. They got Kirby Smart as their head coach. I'm not too big of a fan of this Alabama offense. I don't think they're going to be ready for this environment in Sanford Stadium between the hedges, and I don't think that they're going to be able to keep up with this Georgia offense. Gunnar Stockton keeps proving me wrong every week. Bro's actually a really good quarterback, and I think that Georgia's going to pull away with the win.
This is actually mildly difficult to pick. Because one hand is Georgia. They're playing at home. Never pick against Georgia. Then on the other hand, it's Bama. Kalen DeBoer, you don't got it. Kirby Smart is smart. Dogs take it home.
I like it. EJ, we have been hand in hand with every single pick so far. So you're not really helping out my honestly, I should do it because you've been killing it. But I need to catch up to you, man. You're not allowing it. Except for this last game, we might differ. The Oregon Ducks and your Dan Lanning go to the Nittany Lions Stadium, State College, Pennsylvania. Penn State favored by 3.5. College game day is going to be there. Penn State had a bye week. Oregon had to play Oregon State. How do you feel about this one, EJ?
Is this a whiteout game?
It's a whiteout game. And at night.
Lions. I like the Nittany Lions. The run game, power run game. Listen, James Franklin. Hey, guys, think about this. James Franklin was at Vanderbilt for 3 years. Guess how many games he won? 24. Billy Napier is on his 4th year at Florida. How many games he win? 20.
Jesus.
Penn State upset. No, their favorite. Penn State win as a favorite.
I feel like it would be an upset, though. You know what I mean? James Franklin struggling in big games, finally getting it done for his team. I think it's going to be interesting. Everyone's talking about this Oregon, offense, which is unbelievable. They have a really, really good offense. But you're facing Jim Knowles. People forget that Jim Knowles is now at Penn State.
Beyonce Knowles.
Yes, sir. And he's the best defensive coordinator in college football. I like Penn State. I think they get it done. I got the Penn State Nittany Lions not only winning, but I think they cover. I think they win by a touchdown. Big week of college football. A lot of upsets. I'm scared. My ESPN pick'em is not going great. RIP. I don't know about you, but EJ, but mine's absolute ass. So hopefully we change it around. We're gonna see what happens. But anyways, guys, me EJ, we are step in step with every single pick. All 11 picks or all 10 picks that we had. So we'll see what happens. This is not the week I'm going to change it around because I'm either going down with them or I'm going to win with them. We'll see what happens. But it's going to be a fun one. EJ, anything else you want to say to everyone watching?
What's our pick versus the bye week? Are we going to win or are we going to not have a loss during the bye week?
Are we going to have a coach or are we not going to have a coach by the end of the bye week?
What a freaking mess.
Oh, one more thing. Tuesday, they announced the 3 permanent opponents for the SEC new schedule that we're doing.
Oh, okay. Who do you want?
Okay, I'll go first. I think we're guaranteed Georgia for sure. And I think not as confident, but I think we get Tennessee. The third one, I think they're going to give us like a shitty team that we don't really care about, like South Carolina or someone. Just because you can't give every team their rival because that obviously interferes with other teams. And Florida has so many rivals. My dream would be Georgia, Tennessee, LSU. But we're probably not going to have that. My guess, if I had to guess, it would be Georgia, Tennessee, and Oklahoma or South Carolina.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Just don't give me Texas A&M. I don't want to play them. I'm tired of them.
Yeah, we play Texas. What the hell is with the schedule? Everyone plays. We play Texas A&M every day. Here's the deal: Georgia, Tennessee, LSU. If it's anything other than that, it's trash. But it's probably going to be something other than that, so it is going to be trash, just like our offense. So I agree: Georgia versus and Tennessee. Even though Tennessee is kind of like I don't know. Now, the thing is, who's LSU's rivals?
Alabama.
Alabama is that really a rivalry? I mean, I guess it is.
What for LSU?
Yeah, it's kind of like a big game, but is it like we hate Alabama?
No, it definitely is because I think they really hate each other. It's
Okay, now
Alabama,
who's that?
LSU.
Who's that? Who's LSU
Arkansas.
rival?
Arkansas. That's a big one because that's the
Okay.
boot, right, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then
Ole Miss, is that a rivalry?
probably, but I think it's Bama. I think they'll get Bama and Arkansas. They're definitely gonna get Arkansas for sure.
Yeah, I think you're right. They're gonna give you 2 rivals,
Yep.
your 2 highest rated rivals, and then 1 shitty team. So, well, not a shitty team, but because we're technically the 16th. If you did the power rankings, we'd be number 16. So
Yep.
people would be saying, well, Florida's the shitty team. So Georgia, Tennessee. Man, South Carolina is actually a good pick. But I would say Vanderbilt.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. What is that what you would want if you couldn't get LSU, or is that what you think they're gonna give us?
I think that's what they're going to give us because
Okay.
at the end of the day, you can't give us like Georgia, Tennessee, Oklahoma would technically be like if you were to do the power. This is how they're going to do it. They're going to do power rankings from last 5 years and project it out to the next 5 years. And they're going to say, here are the top 16 teams in the SEC. They're not going to give any one team 3 of the top 6 teams, which is probably what they would do if they gave us freaking these 3 rivals because we're trash. So they're going to say, well, you're going to get 2 at the top and you're going to get 1 at the bottom. So you're going to get Vandy.
Yeah. Okay. So then my last question, then we'll end it. What is if you couldn't get LSU and you could pick a third? Who would you pick?
Kentucky.
Really? You want to play Kentucky every year?
Yeah, because believe it or not, Kentucky is a freaking rivalry now because they freaking beat us.
Yeah.
A rivalry is, guys, what is a rivalry? We hate the other team. We don't care about Kentucky, but they do have bourbon, so at least you can drink. But here's the deal. A rivalry is you never know who's going to win. Any team can win. Florida, Georgia was never really, it's a rivalry, but if you go back and look at the history, we beat the hell out of them for 20 years. And the last 10 years, they beat the hell out of us. So it's like, well, is that really a rivalry? I don't know. They say it is. So they're going to give us Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, roll a dice. Block a field goal, they run it back. Anthony Richardson, pick 6. Anthony Richardson can't tackle the guy after getting intercepted. DJ Lagway can't throw. Well, he did last year. Graham Mertz can't beat Kentucky. So they're going to give us Kentucky because it's a basketball and it's football, and then Tennessee and Georgia. Okay. But I think they're going to give us Vandy.
Yeah, I think they're going to give us either South Carolina or Oklahoma. If I had to get a third, I don't like Kentucky at all. I don't like Missouri at all. I don't want to play Texas A&M. I don't want to play Texas because I just don't want to play Texas. It's probably
Vandy because you go to Nashville. I love Nashville.
There you go. I think Vandy's 3 opponents is going to obviously be Tennessee. We know that for a fact, right? I think they're also going to get one of those weird newer SEC schools like Missouri or something like that, right? And then what's that third? I could see it being us. I could definitely see it being us. So we'll see. But anyway, we'll see what happens, man. We'll give you guys an update, of course, whenever those do drop on Tuesday. Very excited for that. EJ, any last words before we get out of here?
Keep the faith, Gator Nation. Let's hopefully not lose on the bye week.
Let's not do that. Let's keep our heads high, man. All kinds of weather. You guys know what's up. Love y'all, man. Stay safe. Go Gators.
Go Gators.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown!
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown!
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.